Everyone, how's it going? Welcome to another live stream. As you know, today is the part 2 of the anniversary, right? And I wasn't really expecting this 2 weeks ago, right? Like, if you would have told me this 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't have really expected this to be releasing today. But there's quite an exciting unit, and I say that because Lougseus is one of the, when he released ages ago, he was the best unit in the game when he released. He was so good, and as a unit, in general, he's just a pretty cool unit, right? So there was a lot of players that are going to be a fan of Lougseus because he's pretty cool, right? I've got his base form. He's always been a great unit, but anyways, it's going to be fun because I'm quite excited about this unit. Yeah, it's like afternoon for me. Whenever I start these streams, it's always after lunch. So today we'll be doing basically everything that we did in part 1, but it's not going to be as long because there's not going to be as many updates and stuff to talk about. So it's probably not going to be anywhere close to 3 hours, probably around 2 or a bit less, but we'll see how it goes. I'm really hoping that we get this unit today because I would really like to get this unit, like, very badly, because he just looks very cool, and I don't really care. I care a little bit, but I don't care too much of if he's like super game breaking, because I still think he's going to be a cool unit. So let's get right into this. First of all, having a look at everything that's in the news. So there isn't going to be too much that they've added today, so this won't take as long as it did in part 1. But as you know, I like to check everything that's in the news just to make sure everyone's aware of what they've added in the update today. So let's just have a quick look at the maintenance notice. I don't think there's really going to be too much here. Obviously, we got part 2 of the anniversary, which is today, and I would based on what I've seen in the event so far, I'm guessing that there's probably going to be another God type unit in 2 weeks. As my guess, based on the story in the event, because there's this guy that's blue, Lougseus or whatever he's called. It looks like he might be a unit because they've been showing him in the events quite a bit. So it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. And he's going to be another God type unit because, in the story, right? But if you've been looking at the story in the events, it's quite interesting. So, Lougseus, this is a hell of a long name for a unit. Lougseus God of Ruin Worldcleaver. If I were to put that in the title, it would be way too damn long. That would be like the entire title by itself. But yeah, we'll have a look at him and the Ark very soon. Very long name, and another Theopolis. Now, this makes it a bit confusing because we have this Theopolis and the old Theopolis, right? And the old Theopolis was called Theopolis Lost Mangas or whatever, and this one is just removed Lost, and it's basically the exact same place but in the past. So interesting, I suppose. It is completely different to the base form of Theopolis, but we'll have a look at that very soon, and there isn't really too much here I really need to talk about, so let's go over to the anniversary, and this is what they've added today. So obviously we've got a new unit and Ark to have a look at the moment, and then part 2 of the free pulls is always nice. I haven't caught anything from this, but some people have managed to get some cool units. In the last lap, you have a chance to get Descent of Heroes units, so it's pretty good. I do like these banners, they're pretty nice, free banners. And then more login bonuses, Halloween events going on right now. They're not doing too much for Halloween, but this is a great opportunity to get the Halloween Arks if you don't have them. And just so you know, all of the Halloween Arks are free. All you got to do is log in, get those tokens or medals, whatever, go to the training space and just get one of each of the Arks. And I don't think they have anything crazy in them, but you might as well just get them because why not? Because they're free. No reason not to, really. So that's always nice. More free Arks, as long as they're not completely useless, is always going to be useful. And then some training promos, events. So the popularity poll, I don't really talk about this too much because, I don't want to talk about controversial stuff as much as I can, but this is now the final voting for the popularity poll, so you can vote for any one of these 10 units. It's still the case that I'm voting for units I like, but it doesn't matter because everyone else is just going to be voting for the more recent units or whatever story units they like, which is still frustrating, but I'm not gonna talk about it really. But I think it's going to be between Lilibet and Roland. I'm personally voting for Roland because I like Roland, and Lilibet literally just had a shift 2 weeks ago, and I just think it's ridiculous that she's technically maybe going to get another one, and it's crazy to me. But anyways, so new events. Make sure to do this. Not really anything to say about it really, just a basic event with some nice rewards in it. Unfortunately, there are no anniversary tickets or anything, because the anniversary tickets were only for the Part 1 anniversary banner. So on Lilibet's banner, there were tickets for that, right? And they only do that special for anniversary, which is disappointing. Like I know a lot of other games, they give you tickets for like at least a couple of tickets for the current banner that's going on, right? But this game only gives you anniversary tickets for the Descent of Heroes banner in anniversaries, and they don't give you Descent of Heroes tickets in general. And it would have been very nice if they at least provided a 10 pull or something worth of tickets for a rate up Descent of Heroes for the new units. It would have been nice, but they only do it in anniversaries, unfortunately. I still wish they would change some of this, but it is what it is. The Hero Chance gacha tickets are still, they can be useful, so getting one of those can be nice, maybe, even though the rates are very small. And then the time trial is going to be in a week from now, so it's been a very long time since we've had a time trial, so this could be fun. It's always, you know, I never really get into these time trials much anymore because I'm on Android, and as you know, Android is a lot slower compared to Apple devices, iOS devices, so on this game in particular, so it's a lot more difficult for me to be able to compete in the high ranks, so I don't worry about it. I just do what I can. I still enjoy them, they're pretty fun. So that's going to be next week. And there was a raid boss last week too that just finished, and we got the rewards for those today, so that's great. Battlegraph Simulator has a new boss in it, so I hope you use all of your tries before the maintenance, because they reset the tries to 20. I've already used them because there's a new boss, a worm, and I mean, I don't think there's anything special on it really. There's just a few more traits that the other crests don't have, so, and you can get some crystals from beating some of the levels too, so I might as well do some of this because this is more like end game content, because crests are more of a long-term investment to your account, I think. So it's always nice to see more bosses. And this is a redux, so this event boss is just coming back for the next week or 2 weeks. So make sure to do this before it disappears again, because we don't know when it's going to come back. And I'm still waiting for some other events like this to come back, because there's one in particular. There's actually two of them. One of them's I think it's a Lily boss, and the other one I don't remember, but it gives a pretty good sword. So there's some good equipments you can get from these, so make sure to do those if you can. And then the damage rankings, like always, is going to be next week, and other events, unit test, play quest, Ice Tower trials, Beast Mayhem, and the new gachas. There isn't as many gachas going on today. There's only the new Descent of Heroes banner for the new unit, of course, and then the Ark banner, which we never talk about because 10,000 paid crystals, which is expensive, right? And then the shop. That's all the banners really, and the free banners. There's nothing else for banners right now. And then some stuff in the shop. So yeah, there isn't too much in this update. Mainly the new unit and the new event, and then some returning events. And a new Battlegraph boss is probably the main thing that people are going to be doing today, I think. And then a time trial next week. So there isn't too much compared to Part 1, but that's expected because anniversaries always have the biggest updates in Part 1, and then Part 2 is a lot of a smaller update. So we'll leave it there. That's everything in regards to in the maintenance notes and everything. So let's move on to the actual banners right now. So I am looking forward to this because Lougseus, God of Ruin, as you know, is pretty cool, and they've teased him a hell of a lot in the last event 2 weeks ago. Like, he was the main highlight of the event from 2 weeks ago. They were slowly like building it up to like show you who he is and like super powerful, that kind of stuff, right? Which is funny. So let's get to this. Lougseus, God of Ruin, Worldcleaver. So he, of course, is going to be a God type unit. He's a God of Ruin. We rarely get. This is the first shift that we've had of Lougseus, which I'm glad he's getting a shift because it's been many years since his base form released, and he's a pretty cool unit in general. So I was really hoping for him to get a shift eventually. So it's nice to see that he's getting a shift now. That's a hell of a lot of light resistance. I have to say that he's got 50 light resistance already. That's pretty crazy. And there's a fast light resist skill on the UR, and that's gonna mean he's gonna already have 70. So yeah, I feel like you can easily get this guy to 100 light resistance, but because he's a no wield type unit, it's going to be a bit more difficult to reach that because obviously can't equip a weapon or an armor. But let's have a look first. So he's a god type, stats looking pretty good. All of these stats are great. HP, strength's pretty high. Intelligence does matter on this guy because he has Thaumaturgy Ring Plus, so more intelligence will still boost his physical damage, and you can even put on Thaumaturgy Ring on top of that, and that's going to be even more scaling for his physical damage, so I do like that. And his defense and mind is also pretty good, so base stats are looking pretty nice, and attribute resistance -20 to dark, 50 to light, and everything else is 0, so pretty cool that he's got 50 to light, I think. Then element resistance, he doesn't have any stun resistance, but he's got Nailed Curse and Blind and Illness, so it's not bad. Would have liked some stun resistance though, and it's funny to think about the fact that you can just stun the God of Ruin, right, and then he can't do anything. It's just funny to think about that, or you can just silence him and then he can't cast, but unfortunately for this form of Lougseus, unfortunately they haven't put on any magic spells or any magic damage or anything. They made him a full physical damage dealer instead, which can be a good and bad thing. If you remember his base form, he had Black Hole and he could use magic at the same time as physical damage, kind of like the current Bales are, kind of similar like that. So let's have a look at his skills next. So his skills are quite interesting. I don't think they're going to be anything crazy. Like, if you're hoping for some super top tier DPS like Shaltir, Callan, or Joshua, then you're going to be disappointed because I don't think his skills are fast enough for that. And he is a single wield, well, no wield type unit, which means he can't dual wield, so potential is a lot lower than a dual wield unit in most cases, if you don't include Shaltir. So skill 1, I think his skill 1 looks pretty good, and I think his skill 1 and skill 3 are pretty similar to his base form. His skill 1 is a medium area light combo attack. It doesn't say anything here, but I have tried his skills out already because I had to. I really had to, because I really had to see what his skills were like to get a good understanding of how good these are, but we'll show that off later on. But for now, his skill 1 is 12 hits, but the big but about this is I say 12 hits because that's what it was like in the video when I saw it, but I'm 100% sure that also includes the extra 3 hits from his trait, which we'll have a look at in a moment. So the base would be 9 technically, but it was 12 in the video, but that's probably including the extra 3. I just put down 12 just because that's what they put in the video, but it's still a pretty good hit count for a skill 1, and it also teleports him behind the enemy after he uses it, I believe, and that's what I saw when I tested him out as well. Looks pretty useful. It's decently fast. It's not going to be as good as a skill 3, but it's still a decent skill 1, I think. And then his skill 2, I wish his skill 2 was faster, I really do, because his base form skill 2 was pretty damn good. But unfortunately this skill 2, it just seems a bit too damn slow. The delay when you first use it is just very slow. I don't like that part of the skill 2. This one is a wide area long range light combo attack around the target that pulls enemies in. And my favourite part about the skill 2 is the pull-in effect, because pulling enemies in can sometimes be quite useful and quite fun. Like Diaz's skill 3, His skill 3 is one of my favorite skills in the game. I don't have him on this account, but I really like using him to pull all enemies in. It's pretty damn fun. So I'm hoping Lougseus skill 2 has a strong enough pull-in effect to be useful. Otherwise, you're probably never going to be using this because this has a very long delay at the start of the skill. This one is 19 hits. Again, it probably includes the extra 3 hits, so it's going to be a bit lower than that at base, but you're always going to get an extra, at least an extra 3 hit counts from his, extra thing that we'll talk about once we go over his traits. But yeah, this one, you're never going to be using this for his raw DPS potential, because this is just way too damn slow. You're only ever going to be using this if you want to group enemies, and I don't know how good the grouping of this skill 2 is yet. We're really going to have to see how good that is against multiple enemies with testing and stuff first. And then his skill 3 is definitely going to be his best skill, and this is quite similar to his base form skill 3 as well. It is slightly different because unfortunately it's a bit longer, but it has more hits, so you can think of that as a good and a bad thing, I suppose. And I don't think you can even skill cancel it or anything, like the animation. This one is a close the gap skill, so he has close the gap on a skill 3, which is interesting. Don't always see something like that, usually it's on like a skill 1. So it's still nice to have on skill 3 though. Instantly close the gap for a wide area light combo attack. Doesn't say much here. This one is 27 hits. Again, that's from the video, so probably has the extra hits too. It could have been a bit higher, honestly, especially for a single damage dealer, but it's not too bad, I suppose. Just could have been a bit better, but it still looks like a pretty decent skill, and it's probably going to be his best skill to spam for sure, if you want the maximum DPS and PvE content. But I can say his DPS is probably not going to be anything crazy, but using his skill 1 and skill 3 is probably what I would do. Or you can use skill 2 to group enemies in and then use a skill 3. That could be a fun playstyle, I don't know, I'm just thinking about it. But I do like his skill 3, it's pretty fun skill 3. It has like a giant sword that it slams down like his base form. It's pretty cool, so I do like this one. Just wish it was a tiny bit faster, because if it had enough, if it was a bit faster, it could have been quite good, for DPS. I still think it's going to be decent, but it could have been better, And then his special is the exact same as his base form. So what that means, if you don't know anything about his base form, is this special is a powerful luck combo attack to all enemies. But big thing about this one is it's 100 hits. So you can definitely make his special hit pretty damn hard and clear multiple enemies, because this is against all enemies and it's 100 hits, which is a lot of hits. And Lillahar also has it, and base Lougseus has it, so it's a pretty good special. It's one of the better specials in the game for just killing multiple enemies and damage because of the 100 hits, and you can increase the damage cap of that and it should do pretty good. So I think his special is going to be a pretty good special, honestly, because it's got 100 hits. It's going to be quite fun to use that. But it is a very long animation for a special, I have to say that for sure. It takes like many years to use it, but you'll see that later on. It's pretty funny. But yeah, those are all of his skills. Honestly, nothing super crazy, but they do look fun. I have to say that they look fun, and I like his skill 3 the most. His special looks like it's going to be pretty good too. I do need some more testing to really, get a feel for how good these skills could be. But so far they look decent, but nothing insane. It's not going to break any records or anything. It's probably going to be more of a mid-average, DPS. That's what I'm thinking of so far. But let's have a look at his traits next, because these always get a lot more interesting. His trait 1, when no armor or weapons are equipped. So when you read that, you know what's going to happen. It's going to be like Zero. If you remember Prefect of God Zero, when he released, pretty insane, right? He had his Xenobus Ark, which was insane for him, and he would have 2 very strong accessories, and he was just destroying everything in the game. Well, he doesn't do that quite as much anymore, but still pretty damn strong. And I think Lougseus God of Ruin is trying to be like an upgraded version of Zero, which is interesting, I suppose. I was hoping they were not going to do this. I really didn't want them to do this, because when they do something like this, you already know it's going to be a PvP unit 100% all the time. Because they don't make these types of units that often, they're very rare. And the last one we had was 0, which was like 6 months ago, so yeah. So when you don't have an armor or weapons equipped, so can't have either of them equipped, increase physical attack and special damage by 40% and damage cap by 130,000, which is quite nice. Definitely going to need it though. And then when using a skill, can't be interrupted by most attacks. I love that, so basically give him super armor, and that's always going to be useful for everywhere basically, because not flinching is always a very good thing to have, especially if you're against a boss that like to hit you a bunch. This just helps, allowing you to use your skills while you're taking damage. It's quite good. And it doesn't stop there. This, I have to say, this trait one's pretty damn good. It's pretty strong. Give physical attacks and special an anti-type effect against non-god type enemies. So this basically means every single enemy in the game that is not a god type, he has a Slayer against, which is quite nuts. It basically gives him a Slayer against everything apart from god types. It's pretty crazy. Yes, I do think he's going to be good, but it really depends on the content. And I'm still going through his kit and everything right now, but he seems like he's going to be great. Like, there's no way that they would make a Lougseus bad, right? No chance. He's going to be good, and if you like him, then pull for him if you like, but if you're only worrying about PvE DPS and top tier stuff like that, then you're probably not going to be surprised, because he's not going to shock you in PvE. He's not going to be that good. But in PvP, I think he has insane potential in PvP. Because like this anti-type effect against non-god types means Slayer against everything that's not a god type. And guess what? You can give him God Slayer by putting Spirit Maiden Sarah in your team. And now you've got Slayer against everything. So Lougseus does have some nice units that can work well with him, like Spirit Maiden Sarah and SLougseus. They will work perfectly with this shift form of Lougseus, I think. And also, as well as that, damage taken from those enemies minus 40%, and nullify anti-god type effects from enemies. You can already tell that this trait 1 is stacked. There's a lot going on in this trait 1. He has a lot. He's got super armor, not interrupting my most attacks when using a skill, and he's got Slayer against everything on his physical and special that is not a god type, and he takes 40% less damage, all damage, from those enemies, and nullifies anti-god type effects. The nullifying anti-god type effect only matters in PvP, so you can already tell he's going to be pretty nuts in PvP, because he's going to be quite tanky, and he has Slayer against everything that's not a god type. And if you add Spirit Maiden Sarah, which most people use her in Arena, she's still the best unit in the game for support, so most people use her, then it's going to be pretty nuts. So I can already tell, yeah, him with Spirit Maiden Sarah and SLougseus is going to be quite crazy, I think. It's going to be... Also, if you can fit in a 4th unit, Shultier could also work, because then you've got Lougseus with his buffing and stuff, which we'll talk about once we get to it. So, trait 2, God's Judgment. Now, this used to be a skill, or this was a, yeah, this was also in the base form as Lougseus. Make regular attacks light, so his normal attacks will always be light, which makes sense for a no-will type unit, and he's light, so you want him to be normal attacking light. And then, when using a skill, unleash God's Judgment 1 to 5 times, target one random enemy each time. So, what this basically is think of like a extra attack from Mia, or Saintly Mia. It's basically like that, where after you use your skill, it's going to do an extra attack against a random enemy, right? And I've tested this already, and I'm almost certain, like 100%, I'm like 100% sure that this is one God's Judgment is 3 hits, so every God's Judgment will be 3 hits per God's Judgment, right? So if you can activate it 5 times, it's going to be 3 times 5 extra hits, which is 15 extra hits, right? Which sounds great, but there is a skill in this kit that makes it only be 1, but increases the damage cap by a lot, and that's probably what you're going to equip on most of the time, just to make it more reliable. I think this could be pretty good. I've seen this in the unit test play quest by myself earlier, and it looked pretty damn strong, especially with the skill, because it's 3 extra hits guaranteed, and if you have that extra passive in his skill equipped, his kit equipped, then it's going to be quite strong, I think. So I'm wondering how strong this is going to be. Like, does it have enough damage to kill a support unit in Arena, for instance? Because if it does, then it could be quite dangerous for sure, because it's random. One random enemy every time, and it's every single time he uses a skill, and once he uses a skill we can't get flinched. It's quite tanky. So do you see the problem yet? Are you seeing a problem? Because I'm seeing a problem. The problem is it's random each time, and he's quite tanky, and he can't get flinched. So for PvP, I can already see many problems with this unit for sure, and it seems like it could be pretty strong so far, but I'm just thinking about it. I haven't tried him out yet because I don't have him. I haven't seen any videos or anything of him being used in Arena, so I can't say. So let's continue. Give enemies hit by Divine Judgment a 20-second debuff with damage taken plus 20% and damage taken cap plus 4,000 from God-type enemies. Now, this is quite interesting. So this is basically a unique debuff because we haven't had this type of debuff on any other unit in the game because it's unique to God types, right? Yeah, I think if he's another game-breaking PvP unit, then rushing and building him as soon as you can might allow you to clear a lot more teams that it couldn't be before. But that's just an if he ends up being super OP in Arena. I don't know yet, but it could be funny, like when Celestio and some other units released in the past. So this is pretty crazy because it's not random. Again, it's guaranteed. So every time you hit an enemy with Divine Judgment, it gives them a debuff for 20 seconds, guaranteed. So if you're attacking a boss in PvE content, you'll basically have this debuff on the boss 100% of the time as long as you're continuously using skills, or at least one skill every 20 seconds all we really need for this. So, and since this is a debuff, it's going to apply to everyone in your team as long as they're a god type. So it might be beneficial to give your allies a god type mimicry skill if you want to take advantage of this. So like if you're using someone like Joshua who is not a god type, or any physical damage dealer that's not a god type, or even a mage, give them god type mimicry, and then they'll be able to take advantage of this damage taken and damage cap, you know, debuff. So I think it could be pretty damn good. You could even make him a support, because this debuff by itself is already pretty good. More damage taken, caps and damage taken is going to be quite nice everywhere. And don't underestimate the power of damage taken debuffs, because they are quite strong. If you've used Ligador in PvP, then you would know, because he's got the physical damage taken debuff, where they take more physical damage, and it's quite strong. So he's definitely going to be a quite strong debuff for sure. And if you have Lougseus with Ligador and have both debuffs active at the same time, it's going to be quite nuts. I can already see some potential in it, and it's crazy to me, for PvP mostly. Yeah, well, he is already a god type as well, so you don't need to worry about giving himself a god type. And also, if you give him a god type, or if you give God Slayer, it's not going to allow you to take advantage of the damage taken minus 40% for god types, because only those types in the trait. But yeah, these are pretty damn good traits. I like both of these. The trait 1 has a lot more to it, right? And the trait 2 doesn't have as much, but the God's Judgment sounds quite interesting. But yeah, nullify god type effects, and he's a god type. Don't ever give him a mimicry, because he can't be hit by Slayers ever, as long as he's only a god type. So I can already see a lot going for him that he's got for PvP. He's going to be quite nuts. A lot of damage mitigation, nullify Slayers, and a lot of Slayers in his kit, and super armor, Divine Judgment sounds interesting, and some debuffs. Sounds like it's going to be quite useful for PvP so far. Now let's go over to his base skills. Also, I have to say, this artwork looks crazy. I love his pixel artwork. It looks very big. His sprite is very big, and he just looks very cool. He's basically a golden form of the base form of Lougseus. He looks great. I really like it. Not everything has to be a waifu in this game, and it just proves that, really. So, this Lougseus has 2 magic spells. He's got a Charisma and an Anima. So, first of all, what is his Charisma? God of Ruin's High Charisma. This one increases all allies' light damage by 35% and damage capped by 12,000. We've seen similar charismas on other units for different elements, like Fairy King has the same thing but for Earth, so it's not anything crazy. I was hoping they would have something like more physical damage or skill damage or magic damage or something to the whole team, because the base form of Lougseus gives 15% magic and skill damage or physical damage to the whole team, and I liked that one personally. But this is going to be quite useful for Cloudia currently, and in the future, if there ends up being any new crazy light damage dealer for PvE content, then this charisma will be quite useful for that. I haven't come to my conclusion saying if he's worth putting for yet, but I can say he's definitely going to be good for PvP. But if you only care about the meta, and if you only care about PvE content and don't care about Arena at all, then you don't need him, really. Like, I don't think he's going to be a must-pull, but he's going to be good. And in this game, we rarely get a must-pull units, right? And he's going to be good. Like, there's no way he's going to be bad. But, well, I can't really say much more until I've gone through everything first. Now, his Anima, I kind of like his Anima, honestly. So, give all enemies a Strength, Defense, Intelligence, Mind minus 15%. And this will stack with debuffs. It won't stack with Animus, but it will stack with debuffs, meaning this could potentially be quite useful for PvE content, because you can stack this with EX Drain, which is a minus 50% defense debuff, right? And you have this Anima at the same time. That's going to be a hell of a lot of defense reduction, and you might even need that for some of the endgame bosses. So I feel like he should be, this is going to be quite useful to allow if you're using a different damage dealer in your team, it's going to allow your damage dealer to hit the damage cap easier in, PvE content, but also they're going to do a little bit less damage too. So I feel like this is going to be quite useful. It's nothing crazy, but having this, the fact that this is going to stack with our debuff is going to be quite nice. Yeah, having the Xenobus Ark is going to be a big difference on this unit for sure, because he's a no-wheel type unit. Having the Xenobus Ark is going to be great. It's almost a must-have, almost, not quite. I mean, you're missing a hell of a lot if you don't have it, but also depends on what else you're missing and all that stuff. But yeah, I don't think the UR is necessary for him. As long as you have Xenobus, it's going to be quite good. But we'll talk about that once we get to it. HP up max, attack up max, Flying Spirit max, all of these skills max, is going to be pretty nice. Strength and HP should be pretty good. Resolve up 2 and max. More defense and mind, all stat up. So this one, 15% of every stat is really good. I do like this skill, it's quite nice. Critical up 2 and 3. Anti-type boost because he's got the Slayer against everything that's not a god type in his trait 1, so that's pretty damn good. Going to be useful. Auto haste, definitely expected for a physical damage dealer for sure. Holy Armor 2, Awaken 2, Morning Tide, I do like this one. More strength at max MP, it's going to be quite nice. Light High Drive, he doesn't have any of the drive skills, so you could put on Light Drive and Mega Drive if you have those as learnable skills. And he also has Light Attack Race 4 and 5, so some nice damage and damage caps here. Thaumaturgy Ring plus, so intelligence will help on this unit because of this here. And for some reason here it only says strength, that it scales off strength, but it is wrong because he has Thaumaturgy Ring plus, so intelligence will help this unit because he has Thaumaturgy Ring plus, and he does have some increases to intelligence as well, like the all stat up increases, and his base intelligence is decent. So intelligence will still be useful, but not as good as strength, because his strength is definitely going to be higher than his intelligence by quite a lot. Piercing and Diablos on the same unit is quite nuts. I don't think we've seen something like this before on, you know, base kits, right? I mean, you could obviously have Diablos and Piercing on some units, because you can teach Piercing on a unit that has Diablos, but we never really do that because Piercing is a bit expensive. But it's nice to have both of these in the unit's kit already. Basically a chance to greatly reduce enemy defense. I think it's 50%. And this also is defense and attribute resistance, so it's quite nice. Bare Knuckles, this one's new. When no armor or weapons are equipped, 30% more physical damage and 10% crit rate, and 8,000 physical damage cap. It's quite nice. Now, empty-handed. This skill, if you remember this skill was a skill on a collab limited arc, right? And I am glad that they have put this skill on the units, because not everyone's going to have this skill, because it was from a collab limited arc, and I believe that's the only arc in the game that has it currently. So the fact that he already has this in his base kit is very good. It's basically equivalent to, you know, the single wield type skills. Favored sword, it's basically a favored sword equivalent skill. Exact same effect, but when you don't have any weapons. So it's pretty nice. And then he's got fist boost and giga boost, so he's already got these two boost skills, which means you can teach him fist high boost and fist mega boost if you have those two skills. So Xenobus will be quite nice because it has fist mega boost, so you can give him fist high boost from an SSR arc and then mega boost from Xenobus. It's going to be quite nice, I think. Then it's going to have even more damage. It's going to be great. And then special boost 5, it's going to be nice because I do like his special. 100 hits on his special, so this will be quite nice. Quick trigger, Cloak of Majesty 2, cross drive, 40% more damage to enemies that are physically attacking. Okay, and now God Armor 2 and Destroyer God 2. Prepare yourself for these two skills, because these are quite nuts. And it says 2 because the base form of Lougseus had these skills, but this is an improved version of those skills, exact same. And these are starting his unique skills right here, by the way. So what does God Armor 2 do? Well, this is the one that gives him a hell of a lot of stats. Strength, defense, intelligence, and mind 100%. When no armor or weapons are equipped. So, if you can't already tell, that's a lot of stats. Basically doubling his base stats right here is quite insane. And that, I mean, I know the main disadvantage of a no-wield type unit is they can't equip a weapon and they can't equip an armor. But at this point, doesn't matter, because you're getting effects like these, which give you 100% stats. Because this just more than makes up for it. It really does. 100%. Like, compare it to a, you know, attack at max, this is just 15%, right? So, and he's also got all stat up, which is 15% more. You know, there's going to be insane stats. Like, it's going to be crazy, and you'll see in the unit test play quest that his stats are going to be quite crazy. And this is also going to help because it's strength and intelligence, so Thaumaturgy Ring Plus is going to be even more useful. So, I can already see that he should be able to hit damage cap quite easily because of this. You know, a lot of stats and Thaumaturgy Ring Plus. He should be able to hit damage cap quite easily in PvE content, just like Joshua, because he has a hell of a lot of strength stats. And when you have very high strength stats in PvE, it allows you to hit the damage cap against those tanky bosses at endgame content. So it's definitely quite useful to have. And then Destroy God 2, it gets even better. So Destroy God 2 is continuous strength and intelligence plus 50% buff. Now let's just stop there. I say that because this basically is giving him EX, Brave, and Aura. EX, Brave, and Aura, right? So both of them, 50%. So you got 50% buff, even more. It is insane stats. It is crazy stats already. Now, I know stats are not everything, but it has become a hell of a lot more useful against endgame and stuff. Yeah, if you're just starting, highly recommend to have a look at like beginner's guide and stuff, because I know there's a Google documents on that somewhere. I should really save that as a link, just in case for situations like these, so I can keep sending it out, but I don't. But yeah, check out beginner's guides and rerolls and stuff like that if you're literally just starting. That's all I can say, because going through every single thing will take way too damn long. Also, physical and magic attack damage taken minus 35% buff effect. This is basically a high protection and magic aura effect to him as well, continuously. Pretty damn good. So I like this skill a lot. It's very good. Basically a continuous high protection and magic aura and an EX Braven aura effect to this unit is quite nuts for a damage dealer. It really is. And this is also going to help him being a bit more tanky too, so it's quite nice. And then this one is for his God's Judgment, because it said God's Judgment, so this is going to change how his God's Judgment works, or it's going to improve it in a way. So this is what I was talking about earlier. What this does is it makes the God's Judgment trait only activate once, but it makes it more powerful. So it will only activate once, and one activation equals 3 hits, so every activation is 3 hits. It's not 1 hit, it's 3 hits, and I tried that out. I know it's 3 hits for sure, because I tried it. How much of a damage boost are you getting? 200% damage. And guess what? Not only that, but you're also getting 200% damage cap. And we rarely get percentage damage cap increases in this game. Like, the last one that I can remember is Loliha. The shift form of Liliha is the last one I can remember where she got percentage damage cap. And now he's got 200% more damage cap on the God's Judgment effect, that attack. So basically this will mean one activation will be like equivalent to 3 activations technically, because you're increasing it by 200% more. Probably just think of it like that. So instead of making it random between 1 and 5, it's gonna basically average out at 3. So I would probably recommend to keep this on, because it's also got an extra effect here, which boosts the damage taken cap from god types. So the debuff is now doubled to 8,000 instead of 4,000 from his trait 2. So this was damage taken cap plus 4,000 from god type enemies. Now it's going to be plus 8,000 instead when you have this skill equipped. So that's quite nice. It's making the debuff even more powerful. So I do highly recommend to keep this skill on, because overall it's just going to be a lot better, because 200% more damage is a hell of a lot. And the 200% damage cap does make up for the fact that you're only going to be activating it once, because even when you activate it only once, it's going to be 3 hits, and it's going to be pretty damn good. So instead of relying on RNG to get the 5 hits, you're much better off just keeping this equipped to get 1 guaranteed, and it's going to be more powerful, and you get the extra, boosted debuff. So this is quite nice. I do like this skill for sure. And the final one here, 40% more damage and 30,000 damage cap to human types, and 30% less damage taken from human types as well. So yeah, he is going to do quite a lot to human type enemies, as you can tell, because this will stack with the current damage mitigation he already has, which is quite nuts, because he's also got minus 40% here from non-god types. So yeah, if you can't already tell, he's got a hell of a lot of mitigation and a lot of damage at the same time. Yeah, there's no tickets for this unit, because they only do tickets for Descent of 4 anniversaries. And I know if you've been playing other gacha games, it sucks, because this game only gives tickets for anniversaries and it doesn't give the tickets for the rate up banner normally, which does suck, and I don't like that. But the big but is, I suppose, the only way that you're going to be able to pull is by using crystals, so that's the only chance you have of getting this unit. It does suck. Yeah. And now his 6th enhanced skills, more skill damage cap by 15,000. This one's a new one, non-basic status ailment resistance +1. So here's the weird thing about it, these are all basic status ailments, and this is boosting resistance of non-basic status elements, so it won't be boosting these down here by +1. It won't touch these at all. What it means by non-basic is things like freeze and the deadly poison, whatever it's called, and those are the only two I can think of right now. Are those two. Yeah, Arks have long-term value. Units do get power crept, but support units always last a hell of a lot longer, and mages. Damage taken from human and brute type enemies minus 30%. Oh god. And nullify insta-kill effect from enemies. Let me just do a recap. So first of all, we got minus 40% from non-god type enemies. Damage taken. Right? And then you've got, you know, a bunch of stats and stuff as well. And then you've got minus 35% less damage taken from magic and physical. And then you've got minus 30% damage taken from human types. And then you've got another minus 30% damage from human and brute types. And then you've got even more damage mitigation down here. Less physical and less magic damage taken. This is a hell of a lot of damage mitigation. I can already tell he's going to be quite tanky, and he's definitely going to be able to tank Lougseus in Arena. Like, I can already tell that, because the amount of damage mitigation he has, and the fact that he can nullify Slayer, or type Slayers, and it's pretty nuts. Like, the amount of mitigation he has, for a damage dealer, is way too much, in my opinion. Because he's a damage dealer with insane damage, and debuffs, and a lot of damage mitigation. It's pretty nuts. More strength and HP, more damage and damage cap, and anti-type damage and damage cap. So, that is everything in his kit. If you can't already tell, yes, he's a PvP unit, and in PvP he's going to be probably one of the best units in PvP, but we're really going to have to see on testing. We have to wait and see on testing first of all, but based on his kit, there's no way that he's bad. Like, he's going to be good no matter what happens. He's going to be good, but his main value comes from PvP. You're going to be using him in PvP the most. You can still use him in PvE content for sure, and he should be able to do decent enough DPS, but it's not going to be crazy. But the main benefit he has is he should be able to hit his damage cap quite easily in PvE content, and you don't even need a weapon, and he's got some good Slayers and super armor. So, technically, if you're a newer player, and you pull this guy, you can just run him completely naked, and he should be able to do decent damage just base kit alone. And that is probably the main benefit I can see from a new player standpoint. But if you're just caring about PvE content, you're much better off going for the new Shift Lilibet, because she provides a lot more for newer players for PvE content and clearing story. Because she has the SCT regen and infinite SCT for 10 seconds, you know. So she's a lot better for PvE. But what Lougseus provides is, of course, he has insane PvP potential. But in PvE, he does have his, you know, supportive debuffs from his trait 2, and he's going to be quite tanky. And once you get some SCT spell, magic spell on your account, and you can start using that to give him a lot of SCT for his skills, he should be able to do pretty good. But I don't think he's going to be anything crazy, okay? I think he can be used as a hybrid damage dealer support type unit in PvE content. So I think it could be quite nice for like future light damage dealers, or Sholtir if you have her. They're going to be quite nice together. Well, which banners are usually the must summon as well? It's hard to tell. It's usually whatever the best current unit banner is most of the time. Very occasionally we'll get step banners that take 3 crystals and you can get a guaranteed unit take it. Sometimes we get stuff like that, but it only comes around on like special occasions. What you should be summoning on the most is collabs. Always say for collabs. It's like the #1 rule in this game is collabs are the most important thing ever, and then below that is probably limited Christmas and summer units and arcs. Those are also second, and then Descent of Heroes isn't as the most important because they do rerun. So this guy will get a rerun in like about 3 months. 2 or 3 months. But yeah, so far his base kit looks pretty damn crazy. I have to say, he looks pretty good, and I am quite excited to try him out, and I hope I get him later on. I just wish they didn't make him a full PvP unit. If he had more potential for PvE content and clearing bosses, that would have been a lot better, because I like PvE content a lot more in this game. So I'm hoping he is still useful in PvE and can still be used. I think he can still be used for sure. He's just not going to be anything game breaking. Think of like Balezar, because Balezar has, you know, a lot of stats as well, and he can hit his damage cap quite easily, and he's quite tanky, but his DPS isn't as good as the top damage dealers. So think of him as someone like Balezar, who has, you know, a lot of stats, can hit damage cap quite easily, and is quite tanky. Someone like that, I suppose. Yeah, I don't really know anything about voice actors, because I don't really pay attention to that too much. I would expect his voice actor to be the same as his base form voice actor, but that's just my guess, but I don't know. Now let's have a look at the arc next. So Theopolis Magnus is what we've seen before. We've seen the base form. Now let me just show you quickly the base form of Theopolis is Theopolis of Lost Magnus, right? It's basically this. This one's like the current version of Theopolis, and it's not a shift of arcs, so that doesn't exist. It's a new arc, but yeah, I do like the voice actor for this guy. It's pretty nice. If you get Lougseus, then Xenobus will be a very good pull for him for sure. So it's up to you, and it depends on what you're missing. Really depends, because other arcs still can be slightly more important. But if you want Lougseus to reach his maximum potential, then Xenopus is going to be very good. Yeah, so let's have a look at this arc. This arc's going to be it's actually quite interesting, I have to say that. This arc trait is arguably one of the better arc traits for damage. Now, if you're just looking for like a game-breaking PvE damage, PvE trait for like damage caps, you're not going to get it here, because the best are still, you know, Icy Guardian and Susanu. Those are still the best ones for PvE, but this is more for PvP when you want to have as much damage as possible. Physical attack and magic damage plus 20%. So physical and magic damage 20%. When a unit has a god type, 30% more damage. That is already insane for a trait, because on average, like the best arcs for damage are usually 40%. That's what we usually get on arc traits, but this is already getting 20% plus another 30% damage for physical and magic damage. Is already nuts. That's already the best trait in the game for magic damage, isn't it? Not? I believe so. It is quite nuts. But it also gets even better. Attribute weakness damage cap 7,500. When at least one of the Mysterial Power skills is set, then damage taken from enemies minus 10% and all attribute damage dealt plus 20%. So we'll have a look at that in a moment, because it's those two skills down there. When you have one of those, then it gives you this effect as well. And we have seen something like this on previous arcs before, like Collab Arc. I know that exists. But look at this trait. Like overall, you're getting 20% and 30%. And then if you have this skill equipped, you get another 20% damage dealt and then 10% damage mitigation. It's a lot of damage. And even if you don't have the skill set, you're still getting 20% damage plus another 30% if you're a god type. It's just so, yeah, you could even use this on Lilahar for her magic if you want to, because she's already a god type. Or just put it on anyone and give them mimicry god type, but it's not always the best idea for PvP, because if you're giving someone a god type when they're not already a god type, it makes the unit vulnerable to god type shields and stuff, so just saying that. But it's still a pretty nice trait. Now, the learnable skills, Empty Fort, we've seen that before, so it's nothing crazy. Fast Holy Resist, just like Fast Ice Resist. Now we're getting this. About to start, give her light resistance plus 20 buff. This isn't always going to be useful, but sometimes if you're up against a boss in PvE that hits super hard with light damage, then maybe that would be useful in that specific scenario. But apart from that, I suppose it can be useful sometimes in arena and guild battles. That's probably the main use from this, is PvP, I think. And then we get, that's a hell of a lot of words, and then we get some new skills. Yeah, so Faith, get effects based on the Mysterial Power skill set on other God-type allies. So that doesn't actually do anything by itself. Okay. And then what do these two do? So this is the Barrier skill for ASC, by the way. When the unit has a God type, gives the following effects to the Faith skill. So basically it's a combo skill. So if you have this, you have to have Faith on an ally or whatever. So it gives this effect to the allies that have Faith set. Magic attack damage taken minus 10%. Even if identically named skills are set on multiple allies, their effects don't stack. Yeah, I don't know why they made this very wordy and complicated. They could have made it a lot more simple. And then this one's the same effect, but 10% physical damage. Let me just try and understand this correctly. Is it really as bad as it sounds like it's bad? Because if it does not stack, but if it does stack, could be okay, but if it doesn't stack, kind of sucks. Give the following effect to allies that have the Faith skill. If identical named skills are set on multiple allies, their effect don't stack on allies with the Faith set. So, yeah, but I mean, it's just, I have to say, what's the point? Because it's worth too much effort just to do that. It really is. I mean, I think the 4 SE for the magic damage mitigation is worth it, right? But doing all of that effort just for a 10% physical damage for 4 SE doesn't seem that good to me. But maybe if you have both of these, on the support and then have Faith on your damage dealer, you should be able to get both of them at the same time, right? In that case it could be good, but like it's a bit complicated, and you know, 4 SC for 10% damage isn't great, yeah. So it's not really that great of a skill because it's just overcomplicated and not even worth the effort to really, you know, take advantage of this unless you really need it. But I suppose the biggest advantage you have is stackable with everything else because it's a unique skill, but the downside is it kind of sucks. And the thing is, when at least one of those power skills is set, then you get this effect. So are you telling me that you need one of these power skills sets on the unit that you're using this trait on to get this effect, even though they want you to use this on a support? I don't understand this. I really don't understand their thought process behind these skills. Because that just seems like bad design for skills, in my opinion. That's just bad design. Because they want you to use this on like a support unit, but then this trait wants you to use it on your damage dealer. Doesn't make sense to me. Because the Mysterial Power skills themselves don't actually do anything. That's the thing. Like, if this part of the trait said if you have the Faith skill set, then it gives you those extra boosts, it would have been a lot better. Like, I would have preferred that a hell of a lot. Like, that would have been 100% better. But because it says you have to have Mysterial Power skill set on the unit, then it kind of sucks. Unless it works differently to the way it's worded, I don't know. We'll probably have to wait for Lake on that one, but it just sounds like overly complicated and not worth the effort to, you know, get a small boost out from it. Yeah, I'm going to stop talking about that now because I just don't think it's that crazy. It's not that good. It really isn't, because you're only getting 10% damage mitigation for magic and 10% physical damage. Like, by itself, it's not going to do much. And then the last skill, Light Gig Drive's probably one of the better skills on here. more physical and special damage and damage cap. It's going to be great for any light damage dealer that doesn't already have this, so it's going to be nice, for sure. I don't think Lougseus has this either, so he could use it. Yeah, if there is like a big if, let's say when at least one of those is set, let's say it also counts on if it's one of them set on one of your allies. If that is the case, then it could be pretty good. But I think this part of the trait and the Mysterial Power skills are going to have to be tested. But based on what I'm reading, they don't seem that good. So the learnable skills on this arc are kind of like, these 3 skills just feel kind of wasted. Yeah. Well, when it says Light Giga Drive and Attack Raise are like complete different things. So when it says 30% damage, it means all damage of that attribute, right? But when it says skill damage, it's only skill damage. So it's like very specific about that. So this would be physical and special, any physical and special. So like the attack race skills do get a bit more value on because they can be used on mages and anything. So let's have a look at the Arcleaver reward next. I don't think this is that crazy. It's a robe, defense, mind, intelligence, magic attack damage taken minus 15%, enemy attention drawn -1, and intelligence plus 15%. It would have been better if that was MP, and then you could use it on a support. But the problem is the best supports in the game already have very strong paid equipments that you can get for free with Crimson Ore in the Crimson Ore shop. So when would you use this? Probably never. Like, this doesn't give MP, it gives you mitigation and intelligence. It doesn't really seem like a good combination for a robe. 10 dark attribute, resistance to blind and illness. I don't think it's that good for a UR Arcleaver reward, honestly. It's not that great. I don't ever see myself using it, honestly. I can't really think of a perfect situation where this would be the one I would want to use compared to other stuff, you know. So I probably would never use it, really. And you know what's funny is this is on Lougseus' banner, which can't even use a robe because he can't have any armors. So it's like they just shoved this on because why not, you know. And then the final thing about this arc is the arc skill. So even though it has a very strong arc trait, it's also got an arc skill. Give all allies a light and dark damage taken minus 50% buff, and special damage taken minus 50% buff, and an auto revive buff. Effect lasts until unit dies. That's probably the auto revive buff, only that. So this buff, I don't think I'm ever going to use it. Like, it's one of the more unnecessary arc skills, honestly, because yeah, it gives you damage mitigation, but you could just kill the enemy first before they even have a chance to kill you, right? And when is this necessary? It's never necessary. You never need it, right? I mean, if you're struggling against a specific light or dark enemy, then I suppose you could use it in that situation. But apart from that, probably never going to be that good. Yeah, I mean, the arc doesn't always have a synergy with the unit. It doesn't always happen. Only sometimes. And that's the biggest difference with this game and other games, is other games usually have the unit and like their weapon that's good for them. But this game has the unit and an arc, but the arc isn't necessarily always going to be good for the unit. And you can use the arc on like everything, right? So this game's a lot more different in that sense with the arc system, and the arc system is probably the most interesting thing about this game is the arc system, I think, because I don't know any other game that has some kind of arc system like this. It's quite interesting to me. But yeah, overall this arc, I think the main use of this arc is the trait, because it has quite a lot of damage, and it has Giga Drive and Fast Holy Resist, but apart from that, it's not the best. It's going to be useful, but you don't need it. I would argue that the Part 1 arc is probably a bit better than this one, maybe. It's been 2 weeks, so I don't remember exactly what it has, but it's probably a bit better. But this one does have a very good trait for damage, one of the better traits in the game for damage, so I can say that for a fact that the trait's going to be quite insane. For physical and magic damage dealers, it's going to be quite good. So yeah, it's going to be quite nice. Don't pull for it though, you can easily skip that one. But if you do get it while going for the unit, it is still going to be a nice pull, I think, because it can be useful in mostly PvP, but getting Light Giga Drive could be good. I mean, I don't consider the Ark skill to be that great, because I never really use damage mitigation Ark skills. I never use them, because I just... When Spirit Maiden Sarah is already enough, and you can use a tanky unit, I mean, in some I can imagine it being useful in some situations, yes, but it's not going to be a game changer like Susanu or anything like that. So I think it's nice. It's a good one, but not anything crazy. So I would guess not. I think what it means is the auto revive buff lasts until the unit dies. I think that's what it means. Because usually the buffs from Ark skills only last 40 seconds. So I'm going to guess the light and dark damage taken and special damage taken buff is 40 seconds. That's my guess. And then the auto revive buff is probably until unit dies. That's what I'm guessing. Unless it does mean that all of the buffs last until the unit dies, I don't know. But usually when you get an auto revive buff, they say it lasts until the unit dies. They almost always say that. So I'm pretty sure it's probably only to the auto revive buff. And those buffs will only last 40 seconds, that's my guess. If it was permanent until the unit dies, it would be pretty nice. So yeah, it is going to be very situational. And that is why I don't see there's going to be much value from that. So the overall value for that Ark isn't that high, so you don't really need it. But it does have a quite nice trait. That's like the best thing about it is the trait, I think. And then this unit is going to be quite crazy and quite fun. So I think it's a decent banner overall, right? You got a pretty damn strong unit. For PvP, it's probably going to be quite nuts. And it could be used in PvE, but it's not going to be anything game changing. And then you got a pretty solid Ark as well. But if you still don't have this Lilibet or the Ark, and you don't care about PvP, then this banner is probably going to be more value for your account, because she is probably going to be better for PvE content, because her as a damage dealer is quite good. She's quite a good damage dealer, especially her Ether Link buff, right? So she's quite good. I have to say it, she's quite good. And compared to Lougseus for PvE, I don't think I don't think he's gonna be as good as her for PvE. And yeah, let's talk about the paid equipment next. Yeah, I really want to get Lougseus. I really want him because it's a cool unit. And even though he's not going to be a super meta PvE unit, he can still be usable and can help clear content. He can still be used and he can be quite tanky to clear content. So in like multiplayer and stuff, I'm going to be using him. So I think he's going to be quite fun. Now let's have a look at his paid equipment, which is unfortunately another 50 credential paid, which is expected. Because the base form of Lougseus also had a 50 credential paid. And Shift Lilibet also had a 50 credential paid, and they'd like to do this in anniversaries. Kind of sucks, really does, because 50 credentials, let's put this into perspective for a moment. 50 credentials is 12,700 paid crystals. That's a lot of paid crystals just to get one accessory for a unit that's going to end up being in the shop in like next year, in a long time, right? Yeah, it's annoying, but I wish they had a 25 credential paid, but I expected this, so I'm not surprised. I was expected this was going to be a 50 credential paid because he can't even equip an armor or a weapon. So, yeah. Let's have a look. What does it do exactly? So, high strength and defense mind. Pretty nice. Should have had intelligence as well. When no armor or weapons are equipped, increase light damage by 50% and damage cap by 15,000. Of course, that's going to be insane. And damage taken minus 20%, also crazy. And then God's Judgment damage cap 15,000 more. It bothers me they have a comma there, but not here. It really bothers me. But yeah, this is going to be his best in slot accessory, but do you actually need it? You don't actually need it, no. Also, actual resistances are pretty good, and it also gets stun resistance. It's going to be great, but I don't recommend pulling it. It's not worth getting because it's too expensive. Only get it if you're a super whale that likes to compete in PvP. Those are the only players that are gonna do it. If you don't care, don't worry about it. Even if you're free to play, don't worry about it because you don't need it. It's not necessary. Yes, it's a massive increase, gives you 50% damage and a lot of damage cap and damage mitigation, but it's not necessary. If you have Xenobus, your Ark, that Archive reward is pretty good, and you can equip that plus something else. I know the alternatives are not as comparable to this, so like, it's a massive difference. Right, but... And this is all light damage, by the way, so it's gonna be crazy, but I never recommend it, because 50 credentials is too much, and I didn't even get the 50 credential paid for Balezar, because I just refused to get 50 credential paid because it's way too much. Yeah, it's gonna be great. And it's basically, think of it as a bonus if you're already pity him or do more than the 50 medals that you need to get credentials, then sure, it's going to be great to have. And if I were close to it, then I'd probably get it, but just going 50 pulls just to get this one thing is just terrible. 12,700 paid crystals, too much. It is very good, I have to say it's very good, it's amazing, but most players can just ignore it and go with the free-to-play options, I suppose. It's the best you're going to have to do. Unfortunately, I'm probably not going to get it because it's just too expensive. I mean, I've considered it. Let's say if I get stupidly lucky and get him in the Ark, I might consider it. But yeah, I mean, I expect him to be quite big with his game sprite because the base form of Lougseus is also quite big, so I expect him to be like quite massive. It's gonna be quite nice. I mean, arguably he looks a little bit bigger, which is funny. He looks a lot cooler. Like, I like this design a lot. I like this unit. I'm gonna start doing some summons in a moment. And let's just quickly look. I don't think there's anything else I need to do right now. We talked about the unit and the Ark, paid equipments. That's pretty much everything for the moment. So, we'll try and get this guy. I would really like to, but we'll have to see how it goes. Unfortunately, there's no tickets, and the only banners available for this unit are these three. So, it might go terribly wrong, but hey, at least we can see the summon animations and hopefully understand those a bit more. From what I understood, if you see a gobble, it's a good sign that you've got something new, apparently. So let's start this off with lap 1. We'll see how this goes. I did get a couple of crystals today just because why not for this, because I do really want this unit. I'm probably not going to pity, but I'm really hoping I get him around 100 or less, because I really want to get him, but I don't want to pity because I know he's not worth pitying, because I don't care too much about PvP in comparison to PvE content, and he's just not necessary. So I kind of have mixed feelings about this unit because I want him but I don't need him, and that's kind of like the situation I'm in. So it is very difficult. Let's just go and hope we get him because I really need this unit. But I don't need it, I just really want it because he's very cool. He's a very cool unit. Now obviously we're looking for animations like gobbles and whatever. There's nothing in here, I'll just skip this one, and different backgrounds, stuff like that. I honestly would prefer the unit over the Ark in this banner. I really would. If I get the Ark, great, because there's a UR Ark, but I prefer the unit in this banner in particular, because I just think it's going to be more fun. It's going to be quite fun. I really want to use him for sure. Hey, a beach! That's definitely a red then, right? I mean, there's no way it's not, but it's no guarantee to be anything in there. If there's no reds, then the beach lied. 3 animations. There is a red, of course. Great. It's definitely gonna be a dupe. I knew it because there was no like guaranteed animation or anything. But all right. I really need to get this unit. Come on. I'm not gonna spend everything because I still like to save for collabs. No different background. This one's gonna be disappointing. I can already tell. Those are golds. No one's showing up. I'll watch it anyways, but there's not gonna be anything in this one. There is probably still a chance you can get like a fake out. Oh, like that, for instance. But it doesn't give me hope. It makes me expect it to be a dupe. See, because the animations weren't, you know, as exciting. So I hope you can still get like the rate up thing on a bad animation like that. I don't know. Now here's the temple, free temple. Then after that, I don't know. We'll definitely do some free crystal summons after this one. If we don't get it here, which we're not gonna. Definitely not. Yeah, we're not. Tharia showed up. I've noticed that Tharia can show up when Lilibet shows up, but it doesn't mean anything. So there's no reds in here. See? I knew it. I wonder if they can do like a fake out at the end, like a secret, like special animation. It would be funny. So that's just lap 1. I do want to do some free crystal summons because I've been saving those. I'm not going to be doing any paid crystals because, as you know, the paid is 50 credentials, so I'm not going to be getting that. I'm just going to be hoping to get the unit from these free crystals now. I'm really hoping so. So we'll do some temples, and then probably resort to single pulls if necessary. That's like my ultimate move, basically. But let's hope we get this unit as soon as possible, because he can be great. Never gets me hopeful when I see that background, never does. This one's bad, I can already tell. Definitely bad. See? Oh, well, there's a red. I didn't expect so, but it's definitely a dupe because there was nothing extra. And that was weird, because there was one that appeared right there, but just dupes of stuff, unfortunately. I feel like you have to rely on good animations, otherwise you're not going to get anything. A gold, but it's probably still nothing. Three. There's a red. No extra animation. Only one. Another dupe. Of course it is. Great. Yeah, beach. Let's do another one. The blonde hair's Roland, yeah. Oh, come off it. I'm not seeing any different backgrounds. So, there's everyone, but no gobble. So, there's probably nothing in here either. There is a chance there could be like another animation I haven't seen yet, because people have said there's like Lilahar showing up and stuff, but I haven't seen that stuff yet. Yeah, there's a red, but of course doesn't matter if it's dupe. I'm definitely going to do some singles after this one, probably. Nope. Simple background and a little bit doesn't give me hope at all. Nah, this one's bad. This one's definitely bad. Super bad. I really don't want to pity this unit because I know it's not worth it. I know for a fact it's not. And I'm probably gonna say 100 might be my limit, maybe. And I'm probably gonna do the daily gacha pulls. We'll start doing some singles just to make it a bit longer. Hopefully this can change the luck and make it a bit better, hopefully, but I doubt it. If the first single were to be a new one, then I'm only gonna watch it if it's looks promising. Yeah. If there's a different background, definitely watch it. Or if there's a gobble, or you know, a gobble's a good sign. But I am missing some older Descent of Heroes units, so a gobble could technically mean an old Descent of Heroes unit. I'm hoping not. Nope. Come on, we need to get Lougseus. Really do. I mean, I don't need, but it would be really cool. He's going to be really fun, I could tell. No. Yeah, these summons are not going to go great, are they? No, they're not. I'm not going to watch it if nobody shows up. It's just, on a single ball, it's not even worth. So if you remember 2 weeks ago, Ray was golden 2 weeks ago, and that's what gave us the URR. So you're looking for signs like that. Now, everyone's shown up, but yeah, it's still a gold anyways. So there are a few signs like Gold Ray, Gobble, things like that. Yeah, Adis showing Gobble's funny, really is. Gobble actually matters in the gacha now, which is hilarious. It's funny. Because Gobble's a really big sign for like veteran players that have most things. Gobble's like basically a sign telling you that you're going to get the new thing, or one of them at least, if you have everything else. Come on, this is looking disappointing so far. I haven't had any super interesting animations. Like, I've had, yeah, a good amount of reds, but the only reds that I've had were on not so good animations. And that meant they were dupes. So, yeah, kind of sucked. But we did do quite a few summons on Lilibet's banner, and managed to get the Ark. There's a red randomly for some reason. There's a Thoria. I'm just gonna see what shows up. Yeah, this one's not gonna be promising either. See, I could tell. Even when Thoria shows up now, it doesn't always mean something. Because of the fact that they change how these animations work. Yeah. This is terrible. I'm not liking these summons. I'm really not. Bad. Nope. I'm not going to be doing any more 10 pulls, because I've reached the point of I don't want to waste crystals, so I'm trying to... Yeah, Lilahar can be a good sign too. I'm just going to watch this, because it's a gold, but I knew that was going to happen anyways. I haven't seen a Lilahar show up yet. Never seen it. I think Lilahar just means a guaranteed unit, or something like that. At least what I've heard. This is disappointing. I'm starting to not like this banner at all. It's bad. I just really wanted Lougseus, but doesn't seem like the game wants to give me anything good today, which is unfortunate. I don't know how many pulls I've done either, but... Uh-huh. Great. Wow. $84. Feels bad. Very bad. If you can get something within 100, I usually consider that a good thing. So if I can get it in the unit or something new in the next 15 pulls, then it's going to be still pretty good. But that's a big if, because I don't see it happening at this rate. At this rate, I don't think anything is showing up. Yeah, I know 3 is showing up, but it really doesn't matter, because it's still a blue, so... yeah. Or can I see a gold ray again? 140, well... I suppose it's not the worst thing ever. It could have been better, but at least it's better than 250, which I really don't want to go to, which I probably shouldn't, honestly. Come on, we're seeing nothing. Yeah, well... I have a lot of gems too, but I just like stacking them as much as I can. Zekis, the blue is not good enough. It just feels bad when you don't get any exciting animations. Like, I want to see some different backgrounds or, you know, stuff happening, but there's just no hope. Like, it's very empty. Yeah, I hope I get him too, but so far it's looking like a no. Because I've done like almost 100 now, and there's been a lot of reds, but recently in single pools have been nothing but just blues and golds. I'm only going to watch them if they look, because I'm looking out for the animations. That's why I'm taking a bit longer to skip, because I'm interested in the animation to see what exactly happens. But if no one shows up, I'm still not going to watch it anyways. It's a waste of time. No. You're annoying. It's not even the... whatever. Yeah, well... singles are still the way. I mean, I'm a 5 away from 100, and at that point I'm going to feel terrible, because... yeah. I'm trying to think of how many am I going to plan. Like, what's my stopping point? If we were to have terrible luck, what's my stopping point exactly? I don't really know. I don't really have a plan in my head. It's just kind of see how it goes. That's always how it happens. Always. Come on, we haven't seen any good, like, different backgrounds or anything in a long time. This sucks. No. I feel like I'm going to be here all day. It feels like it's been ages. This is terrible. I do still want to save a collab because I know it's going to come up in the next couple of weeks. It's probably expected at this point. I really want Devil May Cry collab. That's the one thing I want very soon. No gobbles, so you skip. If you see a gobble, you know it's good. If you don't, it's going to be bad. Well, not necessarily, but, you know. I'm not getting many reds from this. At all. Or any animations either. Like, I want this background to change, or Ray to be golden, or something. Because I can't just skip Lougseus' banner. No gobble, so even though it was a Tharia, it's still a blue. Tharia doesn't always mean anything anymore. No. Well, it's definitely bad. Tharia, the blue, and it's... I thought it lagged for a second there. I thought that meant someone was going to show up, but no, the game just trolled me. There's a beach. This is a guaranteed red, by the way. But it needs a gobble right there, but there's no gobble. This one's going to be a dupe. I can already tell it's going to be a dupe. There is still the chance you can get like a little high animation, but I've never seen it. Yeah, I've still not seen it. Yeah, it's a dupe. It's a guaranteed dupe. See, even though it was a beach just means a guaranteed red. You need more stuff than that. Yeah, Crimson Ore. I mean, you get enough Crimson Ore from all the free pools and stuff, so it's like less necessary. Well, the beach was at least interesting, but it wasn't anything new. And apparently there's a different backgrounds that I still have yet to see yet. Yeah, in July is a very long, incredibly long time, and I just think I'm going to have to deal without it. I think I'm just going to have to, you know, brute force everything without it. Okay, but I did... there's not going to be anything... No, it's just a dupe. See? I feel like you're relying on the animations, because otherwise you just get dupes. That's my thought. I'm pretty sure that if you just don't get good enough animations like that, then you're just gonna get a dupe, even if it's a red. And that just kind of like ruins the whole point of this. I do want to still keep going, but I don't at the same time. I at least want to get one of the two. I usually say that. If I get one of the two, then I call that a stopping point, and then I leave. It's probably going to end up going to 250 at this rate, but I just hope not. Just really hope not. We need to get it, like, now. We need it now. Right now. And then that would be good enough, I suppose. It's probably not. Man. Another day, another dupe session. It's awful. I hope the next unit isn't stupidly broken, because you can't afford to go this deep into every single banner. But yeah. I'm not doing any more temples. I thought about it, but have I got Lougseus? I wish I did, but no. It's been 100 and something, but no. It's quite bad. The rate's 0.8% for a unit. I still hate it. I think the fact is that this game doesn't have a 50-50 system. And now, I know people are going to be like, why even bring that up, because you hate the 50-50 system. Well, I'm just saying that in this game, you get way too many dupes. And the fact that there's no, like, guarantee after a certain amount of reds, and you have to go to 250 pity to get this unit, and it doesn't carry over, just really sucks. Yeah, gold, I'm not watching that. See? The UR is still pretty good though. I mean, if I were to get it, like right now, I wouldn't complain, but I would still be slightly mad because the unit is more interesting. Of course, the Ark's going to have more long-term value in comparison, but that's, yeah, that's interesting. That's 1,000 crystals. Not like I'm going to be using that unit, am I? Nah. I mean, maybe. Probably not, honestly. Blue stage. Yeah, yeah, still nothing. I haven't seen the blue stage yet. People have talked about it. I've heard it mentioned multiple times, but I haven't seen it. I've not seen it once. And I'm curious. I really want to know what it looks like. I really do want to see it. Like, right now. Because I want to know what it looks like. But I'm not really getting anything else. I'm still going to be going because I am missing some older Descent of Heroes units, like you just saw. And I got base Sarah. If it goes the worst summons in my life, then yes, I'm probably going to have to go to 250. But let's just hope that doesn't happen. Well, I can still technically stop if I wanted to. I just don't want to. Because I like what's on this banner. I'm still missing the unit and the arc. It would be a different story if I had one of the two already. And I always say, if you're missing both, and they're both pretty good, then it's probably still worth pulling on it. At least that's what I do. You probably shouldn't take that advice, honestly, because it's not always the best idea, because stuff like this happens. This is very uneventful, like, no special animations, no exciting things, just blues and golds that are a waste of my time, and crystals. Zekis. I need a gobble. Come on, gobble. I need a gobble. Oh. That's sad. I don't want to keep going, but I do really want this unit. So I'm probably gonna keep going. Yeah. And it's gonna feel bad if I were to have to go to 250 and get the unit, but still don't have his paid. It's gonna feel bad. It really is. I mean, I could go buy his paid right now, but like, it's not even a good idea. Faria. Note's bad. Never mind. Yeah. Gold. No gobble, so skip. Yeah, I do like saving for collabs the most. I'm gonna do one 10 pull, because maybe it will do something interesting. More interesting than the single pulls. The answer is no, it's not. Definitely not. It's even less interesting than a single ball. It's even less interesting. Why did I do a temple? Yeah, there's a decent amount of pre-crystals. I'm just like the type of person that likes to save up as many as possible, you know. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to pity this unit because I do really like him. No gobble, so this is gonna be bad. I've come to the conclusion, if you don't get a different background and you don't get a gobble, it's gonna be bad. Yeah, there was a decent amount at the anniversary, but it can never be enough when a pity is 250. And that's a lot. 75,000. Oh, come off it. I was really hoping to see something different from, like, this, but no. Yeah, I've seen a gobble last stream 2 weeks ago. A gobble means you get something new. It's guaranteed to be a new thing. Come on. The rear. No. No gobble either. This one's also terrible. I don't like this banner. I don't like this banner. This banner's terrible. Do I... Yeah. I'm not gonna... I mean... I could get paid, but I'm not. I shouldn't. Yeah, I know, it's terrible. But, like, that's last Cloudia for you. Sometimes it can be like this, and it just... You can't do anything other than keep pressing the button and hoping that it changes. I'll do 7 singles just so we get to an exact 200. And then I'm just gonna go pity this unit, I suppose. Because, yeah. There's no reason to go to 200 and then not pity. Like, you're 50 away, why not? But at least I've had crystals saved for this moment in particular, so at least I'm not completely broke yet, you know. If we at least get the Ark on the way to get the unit, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, okay? But, yeah. Saving in this game, if you want to enjoy this game, you have to save. You've got no choice. Absolutely no choice. 2 more, and then we have to do 5 temples, and then that's it. And then we can get this unit, then we can try them out, but I'm not happy about it. I'll be lying if I said I would be happy about it, because you can't be happy about something like this. I mean... If I were to get this, now would be the time, but I don't want to. I know a collab's going to be coming up, you're going to need the paid crystals for that in particular, so... Yeah, if I were to do that 4 times, which is 12,000 paid crystals, by the way. 23,000, yeah, but that's the thing is, I save these as much as I can. Did they hint at what's the next collab? No. Yeah. I mean, technically, I mean, technically, I do PvP, but I said before it's not my main focus. Even though I do like top 100 and stuff, I told myself I would never try hard it anymore, and I don't. I really don't. But I still enjoy playing this game as my main, you know, gacha game that I do for YouTube stuff, so I'm considering it, and I'm probably just going to go get it at this point, I think. Because, I mean, I don't need it, but I'll just get it. Just suck though. Because if I'm going all the way to 250 pity and not getting the paid accessory, then what am I doing? That's not new. It is new. Okay. Do I just not get it anymore? Or like... Fine. I'll get it. I'm not happy about it though, but... I don't expect to UR Ark, because trust me, a 0.4% chance is not gonna happen. And I'm not even gonna do 2 10 pulls. I'm doing 9 single pulls, because that's the way you get it cheaper. At least I didn't have to go to 250, but it just felt like it. It's almost as bad as that. Right. Okay. We'll do these nice singles, then we're done. Okay. It's not good, but fine. Alright. I mean, I saved at least a couple of summons, so whoop-de-doo. The, like, 2 more 10 pulls I saved, like 1 10 pull, sure. Great. Now, I'm not going to watch any of these unless they look amazing. Like, a different background. I'll watch a different background if you give it to me, but I ain't... Or a gold ray. Ain't gonna do anything else. Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm not going to be at 250. I'm gonna end up being at like 240, 239. So technically I saved 3,300 crystals. I'm not going for the Ark. I'm just doing these for the paid accessory at this point, which I said I wasn't gonna get, and I lied, because the summons were terrible. And when it goes terrible, you lose hope. And you just start doing this and just turn into an insane person. I know. Yeah, that's me. Can't do this all the time though, and I'm not gonna. At least I'm sensible enough to know that. There's number 3. We should be able to do 2 more, and then we get the equipment, and then we're done on this banner forever, for the rest of my life. And I never have to touch this one again. Yeah, the credential. And then the last single ball of the day is going to be just as disappointing as everything else. Yeah, you can only get these credentials from paid crystals. Yup, nothing there. And that's all we're doing. Great. Well, I can't say I'm happy about it, because I'm not. I would never be. But, the only thing I can say is it could have been worse. Slightly. very slightly. But yeah, the Ark is right here for 400. This is way too expensive. I would never recommend to do this unless it's something incredibly broken like SLougseus. That's probably the only time. But 400 for this, don't even bother. It's not even worth that. Yeah, it's not worth that. It's really not. So I'm just gonna waste these medals because there's no reason to even. I'll get Prism at least. And he's probably going to be my plus 30 unit. I'm probably going to get him to plus 30. I think that's a definite yes. Honestly. Because if I go this way just to get a page and the unit, I might as well just get him to plus 30 next. Which I'm not going to do today, but after I get the prisms from the event I will at least. So that's everything. Kinda. Crazy. Yeah, SLougseus is gonna be. We're gonna be able to use the anniversary Ark ticket next anniversary. So next anniversary, everyone's gonna be able to get a free SLougseus, but that's another 6 months away. So yeah, that's everything I'm doing. And now let's go over to Steam. I'm gonna go over to Steam because it's better. It's better. A lot faster. Why do I talk like that? Stupid. Let's start showcasing this guy now because it's gonna be a lot more interesting than what I was doing. I was in hell for a very long time, like a whole hour. I was in hell. Good news is he's a shift form, so I already have all of his base skills taught. Well, all of the skills taught from my Arks. So yeah. God of Ruin, Lougseus God of Ruin, and then the shift form, Lougseus God of Ruin Worldcleaver. Wow, this is definitely the longest name for a unit I've ever seen. Crazy. Steam till next year, that's just nuts. It's unfortunate. It's a long time. I don't think I would ever be able to deal with that long. I'm definitely going to be using some of these. I'm going to do that later, but for now, let's use a rainbow. No. Guess what? I have one of these because that was from the anniversary 2 weeks ago. So I'm going to use it because it's worth it, definitely. And then... Cool. Look at those stats already. Look. I'm probably just copium right now saying, oh look at this, it was worth it. No, I'm just saying, these stats are funny, very funny, because I don't have equipment, and these are base skills only, and it's already got these stats. I want to do something real quick, okay? I want to do a test, and that test is going to be just giving him Honey Elixir, going into a stage with nothing, just base skills and nothing else. And if he can hit damage cap, which he's probably gonna, then that's gonna be hilarious. But it's gonna prove something. The fact that you don't even need a weapon. Who needs a weapon? Nobody. Let's try this out then. I mean, yeah, we've got all the stuff. What's his ward? I want to see that. 1% light damage, great. Not the best, but it's fine. Yeah, that's very useful. How useful. Wow. So great. Definitely helped me understand this guy, for sure. I do want to read this, but not now. Let's just try it out. So, I'm going to go, not even an arc, I'm just going to go completely naked in a stage, okay? and we're gonna see how it works. Just for fun. By the way, I did beat the new story. It was pretty nice. There is a hint of what the next unit's gonna, well, of an upcoming units in the story. If you want to know, then do it yourself. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll leave it at that. But they're definitely going to be a shift form of some unit. Now, what stage do we do? Yeah, I know, 1% light damage still helps. I like having it at least. Let's just do this for fun, with nothing on. Just for fun. Just to be funny. I just want to try this off. Because I know he's easily going to hit the normal, kill the normal enemies I usually do. Yeah, of course I shouldn't be expecting too much from this right now. But like... considering I have nothing on and just absolutely no accessories, nothing, it's doing something at least, and I could probably even just go through the stage somehow. I would probably just about make it through the stage, it's just funny. And he's, yeah, I can already tell he's pretty tanky. I know this isn't the best enemy to showcase, but, like, it's still funny. That you can just get a unit to level 120, get all the base skills, not even give him an accessory, do nothing, just don't even... Is there a best stage to test new units? Well, not... I mean, there probably is. I don't really know. Usually, I just go into the same random stages. Oh great, I fainted. That's the one, my one weakness. You found my one weakness. Kryptonite is fainting. I should have known. Yeah, well, now let's go back to the normal stage we always do. Okay. Which I like to bully this stage a lot, so I'm just gonna try it. And then we'll probably go to the unit test play quest after this. And try out a bit more with some actual equipment. His damage cap is funny, by the way, on his, whatever you call it, judgment. Uh-huh. I can already tell this is going to be fun. Let me try this once more, because I'm going to try his grouping of his skill too, because that seems pretty good. And then we'll go into the unit test play quest. Also, technically, I'm going to give him some accessories now. Quickly. And then I'll go into this. I do want to tell you, like, recommended accessories, but I'll do that in a moment. For now, I just want to try this. Yeah, it's like when you're playing as Fleur-de-Lis in Wuthering Waves. It's pretty cool. It's the only comparison I can think of. Even if you play that game, I don't know. Holy crap. Holy crap. but, 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 they just died, and I didn't even get a chance to see. They're already dead. I don't even have any crest or skills or anything. Without skill 1 is... Okay, the grouping isn't the best thing ever, like, it's not like Diar's level. $882,000. That's the Divine Judgment, by the way. That's the Divine Judgment. It can do that. Because 200% damage cap can do that. Yes. I'm going to do some more testing with this guy, but before we do that, I'm going to go into the unit test play quest so we can start going more in depth to his skills and everything like that, because that's probably what I should do first. So let's go in the unit test play quest so we can fully understand his kits, and then I want to go back to showcasing a bit more in the story by using like some skills and start actually giving him skills and arcs and stuff like that and equipment. So we'll try him out in here. Obviously they've got all of his sick enhanced skills and stuff with his paid equipment. And 3-jeweled amulet is not actually his best accessory. There's got a better one, which is the one from SLougseus, so yeah. And he doesn't actually need this arc. Doesn't necessarily need this. But it is going to be pretty good. So let's try him out in here a few times, because now I want to start showing off his skills, animations, hit count, stuff like that, and how it works in the unit test play quest properly. So yes, his sprite is very big. Awesome. Very golden, just like, you know, golden ray and stuff like that. It's cool. His normal attack, 4 attacks. I mean, it's pretty nice. Not much else I can say about that. And his skill 1 does have some range to it, and it does like go through the enemy, so technically goes behind the enemy. So this should technically allow him to hit backstab with this skill, because it goes through the enemy. That should trigger backstab when it goes through the enemy, because then it hits the enemy from behind and then they turn around. So that should be able to take advantage of backstab damage, which is funny. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Also, his stats. Look at these stats already. They're pretty great. What art do you recommend if you don't have UR? Well, I'll go over that once we start going over like equipment and recommended stuff. We'll talk about that in a bit, but since he's a light damage dealer, you can look for stuff similar to that. But SLougseus is going to be probably his best arc, honestly. Now, skill 1 already killed him. These enemies in the unit test play quest are starting to become too weak. They need to be stronger. Yeah, 75,000 is the pity for a unit with 3 crystals. So you're almost there. Just need to somehow scrape 9,000 from somewhere. So I do like his skill 1. He's pretty damn good. Also, I wasn't using his charisma or anything there. I probably should have. So now it's going to do even more. The damage cap on his normal hits being, you know, like 300 because of the debuff is now active. 300,000 is not bad. Could be better, of course, but it's not bad. I think it's decent enough. And of course, you got the extra hits, which is the 949,000 damage cap. It's insane. So I do like his skill 1 overall, and you can see that the debuff is applying every single time to the enemy after using the skill because of the God's Judgment. Yeah, I still have some hard story stages I haven't done. I think I might have done them the other day. I don't remember. I know there's side quests I need to do. Now skill 2. Unfortunately, the thing about the skill 2 is how long it takes to use it. Now, I'll press this button, and you can see like there's a delay, and then it does hits, another delay, and then it does the other hits. So like, it's not the best because of the delays, and as you know, I'm not a fan of delays in skills. So now if you try and spam this, it doesn't really solve the problem that much. I mean, it did a little bit, that helped. Where's the pursuit damage coming from? That's his trait 2. And I do want to mess around with that a little bit after this as well. I'll put that on my list of things to do. But yeah, his the reason why he's able to hit that insane damage cap, yeah, is this trait 2 is when using a skill, unleash God's Judgment 1 to 5 times on a random enemy, and then this skill makes it only activate once, but it increases the damage and damage cap by 200%, and it makes the damage cap for the debuff 8,000 instead of 4,000. So one activation is 3 hits, so every activation will be extra 3 hits on every single skill that he uses, so pretty cool. Now, let me just try this one more time. I'm still not a fan of the delay. It's not going to be very good for DPS. Maybe in Arena it could be decent, because it seems to launch the enemy up on the first hit. So that has some potential in Arena, because it has grouping and it launches the enemy. So I think that could have some good utility and damage in Arena and guild battles, because for one hit then pulls the enemy up and groups them. I think it could be quite nice in Arena. And it's a long range skill as well, so you can just have him spam his skill 2 non-stop, right? In Arena, could be funny. And now, skill 3, the main skill that you're going to be using most of the time. Let's use this, actually I don't need to do that. This one is very similar to his base form, right? But it has like an extra attack at the beginning, so it does like sword up, and then another sword comes down and does the biggest slam attack. So the slam attack is basically the exact same as his base skill 3, which is fine, because the skill 3 on his base form was his best skill, and why he was so good. And guess what? The range, the area on this skill is pretty decent, because it has like a wide, like a long reach to it, because you've got like a giant sword slamming down. You can probably snipe some enemies in the distance, as long as they're like in your line of sight. I think it could be pretty nice. And try and spam this. It's not, you can see it's not the fastest, right? But it's still pretty decent, and you can do quite a lot of damage per skill 3, mainly because of God's Judgment. But spamming it isn't going to be the best DPS, as you can see, because like there's a delay in the middle, and I'm never a fan of the delay. Like, delay right there really kind of kills the skill, kind of prevents it from being a top tier DPS skill. But it's not bad. It's not going to be bad, but it's still not the best. So it's still his best skill to spam, just in comparison to other units, it's not going to be the best. Yeah, I like the animations on this guy, is pretty cool. He's got good animations, but they are very similar to his base form animations. They're just improved, kind of, in some way. His skill 1 and skill 3 are basically improved version of his base form. Like, his skill 1, basically the same as base form, but has like an extra slash attack through the enemy, which didn't have on his base form. And this one didn't have the first attack, but the slam was the same. So now let's try his special. Now, you might need some popcorn for this one, because this is going to take many years just to use it. And you'll see what I mean. It is cool though. Yeah, that's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. And I think he's going to be quite good with his special. Like, if you couldn't tell, I didn't actually keep track of how much damage that was. Let me do that again. From the beginning. And just use his charisma and the special to begin with and see how much damage that is. Because I think it could be pretty good damage, honestly. Yeah. So that's like 23,550. I think. And this is just base skills as well with the UR Ark and his paid equipment, by the way. So you could increase this further with skills, of course, and like outside buffs as well. So you could get like a 25 mil plus special, and that could be pretty nice. And because it's got 100 hits, each damage cap becomes even more valuable, because the more hits, the more valuable damage cap ends up being. So I do think his special is going to be quite nice for sure, and it's definitely one of the better ones if you can wait that long. That is, if you're willing to wait many years to use it. Now, if you want to spam his Divine Judgment attack from his trait to the most, then spamming his skill 1 is going to be the best for that. But it's not going to be his best DPS. His best DPS is still going to be spamming skill 3. But let's do this one more time and start putting all the skills together, and he can be pretty good. But it's not going to be anything game-changing or game-breaking for PvE. I think he's still going to be usable there, but compared to Callan and Joshua and Shaltier, it's not going to be as good. So if I were to use this guy for DPS, I would probably just keep spamming skill 3, and then when I don't have a skill 3, probably use skill 1, because skill 2 is just way too damn slow, you see. And I feel like spamming skill 1 is going to be even better than using a skill 2. Those are pretty good. Yeah, his skill 1 is actually quite impressive. I think it's because the skill 1 has high hit counts and it's pretty fast, and you can activate God's Judgment quite quickly. That's probably the main reason why it's quite good. Yeah, like I just said, he's not going to be as good as those units. More on the level of, probably just below, let's say around Balezar's level of DPS. That's my guess, but I have no idea because I don't know the exact numbers right now. Or maybe closer to a Roland without Icy Guardian. Can he compare to the new Lilibet in PvE for DPS? No, I don't think so. I think Lilibet's still going to have an advantage. And yeah, he is mainly a PvP unit. 100%, I can already tell that. Now, we've done the unit test play quest. I want to start messing around with him a little bit before we finish this off. Yeah, his skill 1 is quite nice. I do like his skill 1. Honestly, all of his skills are pretty good. I just wish skill 2 was faster. So there's a couple of things I want to try out. First one being, let's actually start awakening him a few times, because that's going to be quite important. I'm definitely going to get him to plus 30 and fully max him out. Like, I'm going to do it because he's one of those units that I really like, and he's going to be meta for PvP, and he could also be good in PvE. So I'm going to be getting him maxed out as soon as I can, but not yet. So what I want to do is just kind of mess around a little bit with his judgment trait by removing the passive skill just to see what it's like without it. And also recommended equipment and arcs. I might as well do that now. So it's a bit weird to build this type of unit because he doesn't want any weapons or any armor, right? So because of that, your only options to buffing him up are accessories and crests and arcs traits. So recommended accessories are kind of very limited, because the best ones are very, you know, specific for these types of units that are no wield type units. So of course his best accessory is going to be his paid one. Now this is not necessary, you don't need it, but of course it's going to be his best one, and it's just very expensive. But there is one alternative I can think of, which is from Ryvern's event story or stage. I don't think that's in Chronicles yet, but if you've been around that long, you would have Ryvern's event accessory, which is a decent one. I think it provides like 20% damage or something. I don't remember exactly, but it is a pretty decent one for free-to-play players that may have that. Honey Elixir is a passive skill that you get from an Arks, so, and it's collab, so you can't currently get that. He is a light damage dealer, can't equip a weapon. There are a few options, but compared to the best options like these two, you can see a big difference. Now, let's go to the normal accessories that you would normally use, right? So, for instance, if this were to be a normal unit that was just a light single wield damage dealer, you would look for accessories which boost your light damage or damage cap, stuff like that. Well, you can still do that just fine, right? You can give him Equilibrium Sphere, stuff like that, which gives him 15% more light damage, like physical damage. And also stuff like this, more light attack damage. Like, this stuff can work just fine. Basically every unit's good with Susanoo. His Divine Judgment does work kind of nicely with Susanoo though, I think. I do want to try that out at the moment as well. This one can work because more physical damage, but you kind of get the idea, right? Is any of these accessories which boost your physical or light damage or something can work on this unit. But here's the biggest problem. The fact is, you can't use weapons or armors, so you're missing the stats and traits from these. And the traits from the best accessories look like this: 40% damage, 5,000 damage cap, and 7% less physical and magic damage taken. Accessories look like this when you don't have an armor or a weapon equipped, and there are not many in the game. The only ones that exist are this one from the Xenobus Ark, or Shift Lougseus, his paid accessory, or the one from Ryvern's event. Those are the only ones I can think of currently. There might be like one more that was from a, I think it was from Veldora's limited arc, that also had one that increased more damage if you don't have a weapon. So that's kind of the only ones I can think of at the top of my head that have an effect, well, a trait like this on the accessory, and these are the strongest ones you can get. But if you compare these to a normal accessory that you would use, like the ones that give 10-15% damage, it's like a massive difference. And that is the problem, is if you don't have accessories like these, there is quite a big damage difference, because of the fact that you can't make it up for equipping a sword and armor and stuff like that. So the difference between like this one giving 40% and one that normally gives 15%, you know, it's quite a big difference, and it even gives damage caps. So yeah, if you don't have him, don't worry, he's not going to be useless. You can still use him just fine. It's just that these give him a hell of a lot more damage for if you care about PvP. The damage cap is nice too, because if you have his paid and his accessories, technically 20,000 damage cap for physical damage, it's quite nuts. It's a good combo for sure. This is definitely probably his two best accessories options, but if you don't have those, definitely just stick with like Equilibrium Sphere and stuff like that. And if you have Ryvern's event accessory, then use that one too. And that's kind of the best you can do with this unit. I still think he should be able to hit pretty hard, at least in PvE content. Now in PvP, like for Arena, you might struggle a bit if you don't have accessories like these. If you're just running Equilibrium Sphere and stuff like that, you should notice a big difference. And that's like the one unfortunate thing really. Also, in regards to crests, there are some quite insane crests you can get for units like these as well. I'm just going to show you one quickly that I'm working on, and that is stuff like this: Unclad Cut physical damage taken. So you can boost damage mitigation when you don't have an armor or a weapon. So this is a lot more mitigation. If you can try to get a crest like this, which has these type of effects, they're going to be quite useful for this unit, because he doesn't have any weapon or armor. So having this amount of mitigation is quite insane. And you can also get the same one for magic, so you can also get a magic damage mitigation minus 40% trait as well. And there's also a fist boost skill that you can get on a crest. So crests become quite important on Lougseus and any no-wield type unit in general. So I do highly recommend, if you want to use this unit at a high level, definitely try and work on a good crest for him, and that's probably going to be a good investment if you want to use him longer term and like at higher level and stuff, especially if you want to take advantage of, you know, use him the best you can. So I'm going to be using him like this for now. I'm not going to worry about a crest for the moment because I'm still working on my current one. Technically I do have one around here somewhere which gives some more damage. This one, it's not the best. I used this for 0, but it's not the best, so I'm currently working on the better one, which was around here. But that's going to take some time, so I'm just going to use this for now. Just don't even worry about crest yet. I'm just going to use these 2 accessories. Now, if you're going for, you know, learnable skills, just a typical, you know, physical damage dealer type build, but instead of weapon boost, you use, you know, the empty-handed type skills. So you can't take advantage of any of these, but you can use technically naked mind and unclad power, stuff like that would work. Fist high boost and fist mega boost. This is what's funny, you can have fist boost, high boost, mega boost, skill boost. If you have all of these, if you have Xenoblast, it's going to be an insane boost, because you get the 40% damage from this accessory plus another 30% right here. So it is quite a big increase, and it's very cheap, like insanely cheap. Why did they make it so cheap? Look at the difference. 7SC, 12SC, you know, like, it doesn't really make sense. I mean, it does slightly, but it just seems like, I still think it's a bit weird. Adis kind of overtunes these units, in my opinion. They definitely do. It is funny, it really is funny, but just weird that, you know, this costs 7SC, the exact same effect, but if you have a sword, it's now 12SC. I know they're trying to balance it because you don't have a weapon, that stuff, but have you ever thought they might have balanced it a bit too much? That probably came to your mind as soon as 0 released. They might have overtuned it because the effects you get from these accessories, and even, you know, this SC saved is more damage in total, and he's got like 100% more stats of everything. You know, you can kind of see that he has even more potential than a normal unit, and that's just how this game works sometimes. And that there is a couple of collab limited skills that you can put on this unit if you have them, but unfortunately I don't have those. There's like Silver Monkey and some other ones that give stats and damage mitigation when you don't have an armor or a weapon. They're pretty damn good. So again, some more limited stuff that you may not have if you want to reach his maximum potential. But yeah, his skills are pretty fast. His skills are decently fast, but not as good as Lilibet's. So far that I can see, he's not going to be as fast as Lilibet's. I think skill 1, quite good, very spammable. Skill 3, kind of average, decently spammable, but could be better. So I'm just going to keep him like this for the moment. And I will briefly show off some recommended arcs. Now, of course, the new UR arc is going to be good for him, but that's mostly for PvP. Now, in PvP, you're looking for either the new UR arc or Xenoblast are going to be the 2 best options. This one's probably his best one, honestly. You don't even need his UR arc, because this one can technically be better. It actually is better for PvP. 20% physical damage, the ice damage doesn't matter, but you also get another 30% damage, and then damage mitigation, and a flinch resistance buff. So this one's going to be the one you're going to want to use if you have it for PvP, 100%. This arc is pretty important for Lougseus if you want to use him in arena or guild battles. This one's going to be quite important. Just like when 0 released, same situation. but at least we can get it from the you are selecting it if you've saved that, and if you have it, this is great because he's going to benefit from it so much. Now, of course, in PvE content, it's a hell of a different story, and the best ones are still going to be your typical Susanoo and Icy Guardian Arks. Those are still the two best ones, of course. So, like, PvE is still the same. PvP is Xenobus or his new one, or if you don't have either of those, anything. Actually, Kronos could be decent. I got this one recently because I did the step gacha with paid crystals, and this one's not bad, but it's not going to be as good. Like, give some mitigation. Like, this one probably has a bit more mitigation, but that's only if you don't have the other options. This one actually has Holy Rage, which I'm now realizing is going to be quite nice to have for this unit. That's cool. I like that. So that's pretty much all the Ark options. I'm going to be using this one because it's just great. Now, if I press this button, a lot better stats. So I'm going to be trying this out in some story stages because I do want to test him out a little bit more. And I want to try out removing this skill completely, just to show off exactly how it works without this equipped, because I'd like to see that. And then after that, I can also try like a full team with Susanoo and see how much damage cap he's reaching, which should be hilarious, by the way. I know his damage cap's going to be insanely high for his you know, God's Judgment attacks. Is going to be quite hilarious. I can't wait to see that. So for now, I'm just going to use him by himself with this Ark without the passive skill, so then we can see what his you know, trait 2 God's Judgment is like without the passive skill equipped. So it has a chance to be between 1 or 5 times. So we're going to try that out. I know it's going to be worse, but I'm just curious to see what it's like without it. I know the charisma will help for sure. So let's just use a skill 1, and then okay, they're dying too quickly. There's a problem. They die too quickly. They die. Wait, I should go a different stage. This isn't really a great stage to throw it in. I want to see like the God's Judgment just continuously spam out attacks. I want to see that happening. That's what I wanted to see. Let's just do the same one that we did earlier, just for fun. Well, it depends on if your account is currently new, or if you've just started, then it depends how long you've been playing for, right? But yes, it's always recommended to save for collabs. That's always the first thing you should be doing. So I do highly recommend to save for collabs. I think I saw that activate twice that time. That was only once. But he sure is dying a lot quicker than last time. The only thing I've changed was the accessories and the arc and 2 skills, I think, so... It's funny. I mean, I just don't think this is as good as if you were to have the passive equipped, right? Yeah, Lilibet is great. Especially for like a newer account, it's going to be really good. But if you don't care too much about meta, then up to you really. Yeah, he is pretty tanky. Okay, that continues. So here's the thing, is even if you get flinched out of your skill somehow, like this guy just did, the God's Judgment is still going to go off no matter what. So the moment you press the button and the skill goes off, God's Judgment is going to happen anyways, no matter what happens. 1, 2... That was 18 hits from that skill 1 that time. It was quite funny. Huh. Well, you know, yeah, because you have Joshua and Sholter and Callum, then you don't need Lilibet at all. You really don't. Let's do this one more time without that skill, just so I can understand it a bit more. And we'll try skill 3s as well. I feel like the new Lilibet is not necessary. You don't need Lilibet if you already have Callum, Sholter, you know, that kind of units. You don't need them. I personally skipped the new Lilibet. Doesn't need Sharp Eye skill. Yeah, well, he could use Sharp Eyes for sure. For PvP, that would be quite good. But for now, I'm just showing off this. 34. There's just a lot of damage going off even though he's not built, hardly. Yeah, there's hardly any. It would have been nice if they put one in the event, it would have been great. I'm gonna go back into the stage after this and equip the skill and see the difference. There is a lot of Thunder Strikes, God's Judgment, it's quite nice. But yeah, I just don't see a reason to remove it. And that's what I was talking about, even when I was reviewing this unit, is I don't see a reason to remove it because he's just going to perform a lot better with it. And he even gets the extra damage cap bonus with it as well. So I don't see any reason to remove it. I was just curious of how it would be if I took it off. But now if I put it back on, the extra 200%, then try it one more time. Then after this I want to try out a full team with maximum damage cap and that stuff, because that would be fun. Just because it's going to be funny numbers. Also, the Divine Judgment doesn't go off if there's no enemy alive, of course. So it won't hit the same enemy again if they're already dead. I would assume if the enemy you're targeting dies, it should attack a different random enemy. Yeah, there's a lot of damage with the Divine Judgment already, it was pretty nice. But yeah, again, I don't see any reason to not use that passive skill, because that debuff that it's, you know, upgrading in 4,000 more is technically still buffing himself as well. So Yeah, it's gonna be better. Now, I want to try just going back to the stage that we always do for fun. Actually, if I do that, I won't even be able to showcase how much damage his Divine Judgment will do if they're already dead. So, I suppose I'll just have to do the stage again. But this time, I just want to show, like, if I use Susanoo, it'll be hilarious. So, I want to show a full team with him and a bunch of damage and damage cap just to see how much he's hitting, because I think that'll be funny. And then I think I'll leave it there for showcases. Handicap 200k plus, yeah. Well, if you saw in the unit test play quest, he was hitting 300k. I don't know why the chat is sometimes a bit behind, it's annoying me. He was already hitting 300k in the unit test play quest, so yeah. You can definitely get that quite easily. Now, who should I be using? Of course, team like this will be fine. Don't really need too much else. I mean, technically, Soul Blade, stuff like this would be nice. I'm gonna try this out after I equip some skills as well, I think. Or should I just not worry about this and do this later? Good point. I'm not gonna spend too long to worry about that. I'm just gonna go with this. Yeah, it's crazy how good Lougseus is. It's funny. So what I'm going to do is all the Arks skills and stuff. 500, that's a lot. But yeah, that proves that, again, this game is stupidly expensive. You have to buy everything. And then we use Charisma. And then we use Susanoo. And now I'm going to use a skill 1 because hopefully it won't die instantly. I can't tell how much the Divine Judgment is hitting, like, I can't tell. I really can't. Now he doesn't have any debuffs, so yeah. Was that like 1 million or something? 1.1 mil? Yeah, 430k is decent, right? But of course, not comparable to like Joshua and stuff like that. Let's do this again. Yeah, if you play multiple gachas, it becomes a hell of a lot. I know that because I play multiple as well. I was playing Chaos Zero Nightmare came out the other day, yesterday. Spent like most of the day re-rolling. Haven't had a good chance to play it yet because of today's stream, but oh well. Yeah, Chaos Zero Nightmare is pretty damn good, I have to say, but I haven't got into it too much. The reviews have been pretty good. I actually want to, I want to talk about something. Let me do this first, and then I want to tell you something. It's quite funny. 1.3 million. Is that 1 point? Did my eyeballs see that? 1.3 million. Because that is too much. Oh, imagine. Hey, wait. Imagine this. Paint a pit. What? I can't even say what I'm gonna say. Imagine. You know what I'm gonna say, aren't you? Imagine this: Divine Judgment plus Fatal Strike on the same hits. If that could happen, it would be like the best thing in the world. Imagine that. It'd be like so crazy. Aegis wouldn't do that, but I'm just saying imagine it. I would love to see something like that. That would be hilarious. Yeah, these damage caps are nuts. See, 1.2 million after, because the skill, he got flinched out of his skill, but the Divine Judgment still went off at the end and did the 1.2 million per hit. Times 3, by the way. 1.2 million times 3. Also, 1.2 million is like equivalent to 3 of his skill. 3 hits. So, yeah, it's pretty nice. Make a beginner's guide. Well, a lot of people have said that, but I don't really want to, because there is already a beginner's guide and it's a Google document. So basically, if I were to make a video, all I'll be doing is reading it. And that's not going to be very entertaining. And I'm not the best at, you know, coming up with, you know, entertaining content, as you could tell. How did you do against non-humans? Good question. Let me try. But they're probably going to be... What stages? I don't remember stages because I don't know why, but I don't. So I'm gonna try and guess. One of these stages is Prefect of God 0, and it's like one of these. I'm just gonna have a look. Obviously, with all these buffs, he's gonna do. He's gonna hit damage cap. But yeah, what I was thinking about saying a moment ago. Yeah, this is 0. Was I play a lot of gacha games, right? I like to discover new gacha games, and very recently, well, over the past couple months or whatever, there haven't been any crazy good gacha games, and there's been a lot of disappointments. And you probably already know about it if you've seen other YouTubers or even looked at information regarding gacha stuff, but I don't cover it because a lot of other gacha content creators already do it. But Stellar Sora, if that means anything to you, what am I going to say? But yeah, there's been some good gacha games that have just been shafted by terrible, you know, company behind it. Yeah, here we go. Here's the difference. This is not human type enemy, right? 1.25 million, I think that is. Yeah, that's a lot. A beginner should still come up with Lilibet instead. Because she has the SC regen and infinite SC capabilities which she doesn't have. Yeah, there's a lot of damage. He can still work against non-human type enemies, but there is a notable difference, especially because the 200% damage cap on the Divine Judgment. I'll do this one more time, I'll try and do it as quickly as I can, okay? Just for fun. Yeah, we'll just do this. Not fully built, right? Well... Mostly, but I haven't even... I've only put on a few passive skills, so I suppose I'll do that now. I'll give him some passive skills. I'll give him some passive skills. Yeah, well, here's... Guess what? I'm gonna just point at the fact that this says non-human type enemy slayer, and then the fact that Spirit Maiden Sarah is in this team, which gives, you guessed it, anti-god type effect to physical attacks. So he has everything. Every single Slayer. He's hitting Slayer against God types right now because of Spirit Main and Sarah. So they're a perfect combo. This type of team, these three together, perfect. Amazing team. These three together. And these two are top tier supports. And the fact that these two work very well with this guy helps a lot. Yeah, like, but that Adele was kind of, you know, Shift Adele was just a very slow DPS. So, I've had Shift Lougseus at 19 SC. Just because I'm gonna put on some more damage caps quickly, and then we'll see how fast we can get through this 0 fight. Technically, you could. Actually, I just had a thought, and it may be stupid. No, it's gonna be fun. Let me hang on. Let me show you something. I had a thought. That is special damage. So I need to try out his special as well. So let's just go in with what light attack rotate? What? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, this is perfect. This is perfect. This is amazing. Love this. Yeah, Infinity High Drive too. This is why light and dark units are so good in this game. They can be. Sarah, when she came out, yes, she gives God Slayers to the team for physical and magic. She's done that the entire time. I'm just gonna go in like this, and I want to use his special. How am I gonna do that? Great War Ruin. Finally gonna get some good use out of this. I want to see how much damage this does in one special with Susanu, because this will be funny. Just as funny as this physical damage. Yeah. Well, that's why I'm here, I suppose. I like to look in depth on every single unit's kits and how they play out. That's like the one thing I enjoy the most about this game. Yeah, you should, when you get a unit, definitely see what they do. You should always do that. Even if you think you know what they do, there may be something you're missing. And in this case, what's that? It doesn't apply to counters, only physical magic, that's still pretty damn good. So, what I'm going to do right here is use Susanu, and then I'm going to use his special, and we're going to see how much this does. So he has, how many zeros that is, I can't see from here, it's like 60 million, or 600, one of those two numbers. And we're going to use Endlessness. Probably 60 million. Yes, definitely 600 too much. Quite a lot. That's, oh god, that's 32.4 basically. Let's just say 32 million in one special. Hilarious. Wow. It's pretty great. It's funny. This is gonna be great. Yeah, I'm definitely having a lot of fun with this unit. He's quite cool. He can definitely do some good damage. Like, it's not crazy. Like, it's not like Joshua or Callanty or anything, but it's just fun. You know, and when you get a unit like this, which isn't game breaking, in PvE at least, but it's just a fun unit to use overall, and has some, you know, utility with his debuffs and stuff, he just feels very good to use, you know, like a unit like this just feels very good to use. Even if it doesn't have to be the best unit ever, but it's still very good. Let me just see quickly if I can add some more damage cap, and then we'll probably do this one more time with skills, and then we'll leave it there for the showcase, because we've been here almost 3 hours. Surprisingly, I didn't expect to be here this long, but this unit just really made me want to do more. I mean, a lot of these skills you can't use. Arigami Mitama is going to be perfect. You know why? 6,000 damage cap. Amazing. Yeah, it's definitely fun, but isn't a necessary unit. But when you get fun units like these, it does, you know, make me enjoy the game a hell of a lot more than it would. The rush skills, I'm just looking for damage caps right now. Yeah, he also, you can do stuff like this, by the way. Special breakthrough, 10,000 more damage cap special, 3,000 more, 5,000 more. You know, you've got some more potential special damage caps here. So I could be here quite a while messing around with builds for like maximum damage cap special and stuff like that. But you don't want to be here all day. Also, maybe, you know what, maybe the specific skill, breakthrough skills will work. Never mind. When only one weapon is equipped, why doesn't it say when no weapon equipped? The boost skills should still be pretty good though. Like skill 3 boost should still boost his you know, God's Judgment. So the skill 3 boost and skill 1 boost should be pretty good for the damage cap, I think. And then I'll just have a brief look. I don't think there's really anything else I'm missing with damage cap that's anything important. I know you could probably min-max more, you definitely could, but just going for like more simple ones. You could put on Pulmatody Ring. Yeah, Guardian Angel Lukel was insane. I'm just glad that doesn't exist anymore, because that was so dumb. That was just... Adis knew they screwed up when they released her, or once they saw people using her, how they did, with 0-second clears. I mean, technically you could still do that nowadays, if you give her Susanu. Yeah, that's gonna be good enough for now, I suppose. Yeah, remember Alice? Remember Alice? That was also a thing that happened. Yes, it was. I'm sure you do. It was funny. It's just the same situation, just spamming special. That is why the time trials don't allow you to use time stop skills anymore. So I just want to see what the damage cap on the skills are like right now after a few changes. And we'll try skill 3. I believe the God's Judgment should be doing more on his skill 3 because I have skill 3 boost. I think that's everything. I could use Great War Ruin as well, maybe not to. I don't need it. Yeah, it's pretty good. If I had... Actually, I know what I want to do real quick, but I don't think I can do it because I'm on PC. But you can use Lena. If you use Lena and infinite spam skill 3, you might be able to kill Zero before he uses his second special, maybe. I'm just going to do it one more time, okay? And then we'll stop, because we've been here too long. Yeah, I farmed it, but... I farmed both of them, but I didn't max out the Thunder one because... it's only a 5% difference. So I didn't have enough motivation to want to farm it to max level. I just got it +1 and Godforged, because Won't Faint, incredibly useful. I got this one maxed though at least, because it's great. Yeah, it does take a lot of time. So I want to use Lena instead of you, just for infinite SET. And I want to see I don't think I have. I just need to put some MP equipment on and it'll be fine. Yeah, Chaos Zero was the one turn-based game that I was looking forward to this year. I tell you something, I really wanted a new turn-based gacha game, but I couldn't get into any of the current existing ones because Honkai Star Rail sucks. That's just the truth. And you say otherwise, whatever, but it sucks because it went downhill ever since a long time. But anyways, it's really disappointing that that happened. But I've been trying to find a different turn-based gacha game that can fill that role of a turn-based gacha game because I like turn-based games. Just like turn-based gacha games in general. I wanted to have a turn-based gacha game, and I think Chaos Zero Nightmare might be that, but it's more of like, you know what it reminds me of? It makes me think of Slay the Spire, if you've played that. Chaos Zero Nightmare reminds me of that game. I haven't had any connection issues right now, so I don't think so.
I'll give it my all.
Let's just go with this, because I want to try like Infinite Spam Skill 3, and that's going to be the last showcase of the day. Yeah, I like Slay the Spire, but I never really got into it too much. I played it like 10 hours or so total, but I never really got into it. It was like 100 hours or something, which I normally would on a roguelike game, but I like roguelike games, but deck builders require a lot more brain power, which is a good and bad thing if you have brain power. Just saying. No reason whatsoever. Okay, let's see how quickly we can do this. Almost. Now he's dead. Well, it's still pretty good though, I'd say. It's not bad. But I think new players can definitely use Shift Lougseus, but he's more for PvP, and I don't think new players are going to be able to take advantage of him as much as more veteran players can. So, I mean, I don't really have a preference. I don't have any space on my friend list right now, but you can always add me if you like. I don't mind, because there's definitely some players that have been not playing for a long time, so I should probably remove them. Yeah, I'll tell you something. I played Honkai Star Rail when it came out, okay? I played it for quite a long time. But after, like, version 2 point something, I ended up dropping the game because the power creep and, you know, it wasn't as fun anymore to me. And after a certain point, I've been keeping up to date with the news on that game, and I'm glad I quit, because the power creep is ridiculous. And I don't think I'm ever going to play a game by Hoyoverse ever again in my life, because I don't like that company anymore, because they are just greedy. And some companies are just like that, and it's best to avoid them completely, because they just turn greedy. Same thing with Genshin Impact is they turn greedy, and the end game requires you to get the most recent unit, otherwise you can't do it. Just think about that. It's terrible. Yeah, so I'll remove some people on my list, because I should definitely do that. But yeah, yeah, this code, if you want to, I don't mind. I usually get a lot of friend requests for some reason, but I do need to empty out some more of these people. I try and keep daily players on my friend list, because friend points, even though I got almost 5 million friend points that I never use, but oh well. $9k crystal is pretty damn good. That's great. Well, I think I'll keep it there for the moment. It's been 3 hours, surprisingly. We had a lot of time to mess around with this unit. So, conclusion for today, definitely a very cool unit. I do like this unit quite a lot. He's quite fun to use. And I think if you get him, you're not going to be disappointed. The only way I can see you being disappointed in him is if you're just looking at a new top tier PvE DPS, because he's not going to be able to do that. But if you think of him as someone like a Shiftadel or someone like that who can do pretty good damage but can also clear content quite easily, then I feel like he's going to be quite a nice unit. And the fact that he can also synergize with the current best supports units, being Spirit Maiden Sarah and SLougseus, if you have both of those, is pretty crazy, because those two are going to buff him quite a good amount. And I know they can work with everyone, but they just work better with him in particular because he's a light damage dealer, and he also doesn't have God Slayer in his kit. He has everything that's not a God Slayer, so you can see how Spirit Maiden Sarah is going to be useful in that team too. But yeah, I think he's going to be quite nice. I'll probably add these others later on. I'll do that after the stream, but I think this ban is pretty nice. I wish the summers went a bit better, but what can you do? Not much, really. Not much you can do about that. But this ban is pretty good, but do you need to pull? I don't think so. This is another one of those banners where you don't need it if you already have existing options, and it depends on what contents you care about. If you care about PvP a lot, and you want to rank high, then he might become necessary. But he probably also needs his paid equipments and Xenobus and limited stuff, so yeah, it's a bit difficult when you get to high level PvP, and that's why I don't care about it that much anymore, because trying to keep up with that, you know, continuous power creep of PvP is really expensive and frustrating, so just putting that out there. But if you don't care about that, he does become less useful. But if you just like him as a unit and you want him anyways like me, then get him if you like, because he's going to be a good unit, and he's not bad. Like, compared to crappy Balan's, he was just utter garbage unit, right? He's had no use anywhere, any content, it was garbage. But Lougseus can be good, like, in most stages. He's not going to be good in, like, the end game Battlegraph Simulator, stuff like that, because, you know, his DPS isn't the best. But if you turn him into a support, then I had an idea that I thought about earlier, and that was you could have Lougseus as a support / SCT battery with Spirit Maiden Sarah and SLougseus, and then the fourth unit is going to be your main DPS, which will be Cloudia. And now those 4 units in the same team could be a pretty damn good team for endgame and Battlegraph Simulator, because Cloudia is still quite one of the best DPS damage dealers, you know, and those other 3 units are basically buffing up Cloudia. So I feel like those 3 units together, mixing with a Cloudia, is going to be quite a strong team overall. If you have Cloudia, that is, but if you don't, those 3 units are still going to work pretty well together. And then I suppose your 4th unit isn't really going to be able to take advantage of Lougseus or the other 2 as much, but still going to be quite good. Can his trait, second trait, proc Goddess Kiss? Well, his normal attacks can definitely proc Goddess Kiss, because if it can't, then what's the point? And his regular attacks are going to be light. Obviously Goddess Judgment won't, but his regular attack should definitely proc Goddess Kiss. Like, what kind of question is that, really? Really? Because I know Prefect of God Zero and other, like, no world type damage dealer units have a similar thing in their trait, which makes their normal attack an element. So Yeah, overall I think this banner's pretty good. This Ark, I think this Ark is pretty good with the traits, but the Mysterial Power skills and the Faith are just kind of confusing and too wordy, and I don't really like the passive skills on here because the SC cost is a bit much, and the effect you're getting from it isn't really much, not really worth the hassle either. Where the Judgment is probably going to count as like an extra attack or skill damage or something, or magic damage or light damage, something like that. So it's not going to be a normal, it's not going to count as normal attack, so it won't proc it at all. Yeah. Hoyoverse games are just incredibly expensive, especially if you want to go for C6 stuff, but don't worry about that. It's a good thing it's not that. It could be worse, could be better, it could always be different things, but you have to deal with what you have, I suppose. Out of the current 2 banners, it really depends on what you're looking for your account. If you're just starting, I do think Lilibet's banner is still going to be the better option because she's more useful for newer players, and the Ark is arguably better than the other one. Yeah, I do think it is better than the other Ark in Lougseus' banner. A little bit better, at least. So I do consider this Lilibet's banner to be slightly more, got slightly more value if you're a newer player and if you need a damage dealer and don't have Callum, Sholtier, and Joshua. If you don't have any of those 3, then this banner is going to be the one you're going to want to pull on. But if you already have those top tier damage dealers, then, and you care about PvP, then this is going to be the better banner. So you do have options, like they're basically covering both ends here. You've got one for PvE content and newer players, and then you've got this one for more veteran players and PvP content. So it's nice to see a variety of, you know, these completely different units on banners right now. So if you don't plan to summon on any of these, then you're probably in the select few that are just casual and don't care about PvP and already have like Callan or Sholtier or Joshua or something. So yeah, he's not a must-have, and I didn't technically put Kitty, so could have been slightly worse. I was 11 pulls away. Yes, it kind of sucks, but the only reason I did it was because I really like this unit. I just think it's a really cool unit, and it's going to be fun. I've had a lot of fun with him today for the past like hour or so. So, does that make up for the amount of crystals I spent for it? No, but it was still fun anyways. So, I would say probably. So that's what matters at the end of the day. There aren't any other banners going on in here, just these ones. Let's just have a quick look at any special Redux banners. I don't think there's anything crazy. I did this and I managed to get 3 new Arks from this, which was nice. It's pretty nice. I still don't recommend doing any of these unless you're missing like one specific one that you really want, like Lilahar or something maybe. Like Sarah, if you're missing Sarah for instance, then and you have everyone else, then it's definitely a good idea. But no one's ever going to be in that situation. Yeah, if you've been around since original base Lougseus came out, then you're going to be more excited about this unit. So yeah, the Grug banner is on for another week. Just ignore it. The Grug is not even a meta unit, so that kind of speaks for itself. If you like this unit, then do what you want. Can't stop you, but she's not meta, and she's not really that useful. She's just a waifu bait unit. But if you like her, then sure, do what you want. But I'm not pulling on that one, because waifu's not everything in this game, at least. These 2 banners are the current best ones, and I believe in 2 weeks there's either gonna be another Descent of Heroes banner, or it's going to be a collab. So do expect a collab to be happening in the next couple of weeks. If it's not in 2 weeks from now, then it's probably going to be in the 2 weeks after that. So let's say 4 weeks. In 4 weeks there might be a collab. That's my guess. And next to for the next unit, it might be Lougseus or whatever his name is, that he keeps showing up in the event story. So that's my guess, but we don't know for sure. I'm just guessing based off of what we've been seeing so far. So I'm gonna guess 1 Descent of Heroes unit, then collab is my guess, and it's probably gonna be a rerun. But yeah, official live stream soon. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Like, you have to guess these things. Collabs are very common in this game, and I do think there's going to be a collab rerun. It's probably going to be a rerun, and it's probably going to be in 4 weeks, that's my guess. Anniversary lasts for another 2 weeks, and then the anniversary will be done. So this is the part 2 of the anniversary is finished, and I believe that's everything I wanted to say in regards to everything in this update. Yeah, I really want a Devil May Cry collab, just because I want Purple Orb, and I really want Insight for Virgil, because that will be fun. Hopefully it's good. And also a Nier rerun will be on my list as well. Those 2 are collabs I really want to have a rerun of for this account, because this is missing most of those stuff, so would be nice. So here's the thing, is with live streams, I can physically not join them because, oh yeah, the new flare, by the way, is quite funny. It's quite funny. If you beat the new boss, quite funny. I can't join the live streams because it happens when I'm asleep. So my time zone is the worst time zone for those live streams, that I can't watch them live. So the best I can do is wake up in the morning, have a look at the Japan stream. I can watch the Japan stream, but I can't watch the global stream because it happens at like 3 or 4 AM or something stupid. So yeah, that's why I can never show up to those streams. If I could, then I would, but I can't because I'm asleep. And it's not my fault. I'm not a lazy faggot. I'm just saying I'm asleep at that time because it's stupid early or stupid late at night time. Why is max skill stock so good? Let me show you something called Honey Elixir, which restores all of your SCT. And guess what the best skill usually is on DPS units? There's skill 3 that has a maximum of usually like 2 skill stocks, or even 1 skill stock on like Telestio. Having an extra skill stock of your skill 3 is a game breaker, and it can be insanely good on certain units like Albedo, Telestio, Callan, Joshua. You know, those types of units could take advantage of Purple Orb. It's gonna be crazy. Yeah, I would really like to have Purple Orb. This is the one thing I really want for this. So if there is a collab in 2 weeks from now, that would be pretty nice, but also kind of difficult to build up crystals for that, considering we just had a Shift Lougseus and an anniversary. But that's just how it is in this gadget game and most games. It's just. But I'll say one more thing, and then I'll need to go in a moment. The fact is, this game releases a unit like every 2 weeks, right? In collabs, it can be like every week there can be a new unit, which is kind of fast in comparison to other gacha games that has like 1 new unit every 3 or 4 weeks. So this game is a bit quicker in the units and, you know, arcs that it releases compared to a lot of other games that I've played, a lot of other gacha games. King Bradley Insight, yeah, that has potential, but King Bradley at home is called Joshua, and King Bradley at home is a you know, King Bradley 2.0. So yeah, King Bradley Insight is going to need a hell of a lot to be able to keep up with a Joshua that has more damage in his base kit and Fatal Strike and stuff. So Suzaku was an insane Insight, have to say that. Always the biggest downside with this game is the gacha itself and the fact they release new banners and units every 2 weeks or a week. It's a hell of a lot to keep up with, but that's why change your mindset, then you don't need to worry about it, because then you can start skipping banners. then it becomes a lot more, you know, doable to be able to keep up with the game. Yeah, I know. Re-zero, I don't think that's ever happening. Here's my theory. I feel like there might have been like a falling out between the companies, and that is probably why they are not doing a rerun, because they don't want to, you know, that's just my guess. I have no idea. It's my tinfoil hat theory, okay? I have no idea. With no information on it, they haven't said anything, but I'm just saying it's been many years since, and it's never had a rerun. So it's probably because the other company doesn't want to have a rerun of this game, because they fell out with the Adis, but that's just my guess. I have no clue. That's the only logical explanation. I hope next collab is bad, so then I can skip and keep saving up more crystals, because I want to keep stacking up as many as possible, so then I can never worry about crystals ever, but I don't think it's ever happening. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there for today, because we've been here for quite a long time, and hopefully if you plan to summon, you get the stuff that you wanted, and it goes better than what I did, because that wasn't great. It was terrible, but at least we got it eventually, and I'm going to be using this guy and trying him out in arena and building him up to plus 30 in the next week. So that's going to be fun. And I will add the timestamps in the next 10-15 minutes or so, and I suppose I'll see everyone in 2 weeks from now, and we'll see if it's a collab or if it's another Descent of Heroes unit. We'll see. There is a chance it could be a collab, but expect a collab very soon. Collabs are very common in this game, at least it's not as common as Grand Summoners. That's all I can say. But yeah. Thanks for coming, I'll see you in 2 weeks.